Dear Potiphar.
That's right, Judah. We can't rest until we find Joseph.
I miss my son Joseph more than anything. I would be the happiest man in all the lands if a merciful soul would come to me and tell me that Joseph is still alive in some corner of the world.
Homa Bay mpo. Radio Mayenga inakuletea roadshow ya kuhadithiwa Alhamisi tarehe 30 Septemba 2021 na Ijumaa tarehe 1 Oktoba ni Mayenga ndani ya Homa Bay County. Alhamisi msafara utapitia Chabera, Kadongo, Ringa, Oyugis, Kosele, Kindu Bay na kisha tutue Rangwe Town. Ijumaa tutaanzia Rangwe, Ndhiwa, Mbita, Sindo kisha Homa Bay Town itatetemeshwa na Mayenga. Njoo upatane ana kwa ana na watangazaji wa Mayenga unaowaenzi. Mayenga FM, Homa Bay ni yetu.
Nikachochezi kapaya sana Mwangi.
Kwa nini muongeze?
Mwangi kafitina sana. Si hapo ndio kaliniambia. It's a here saying mheshimiwa.
Yani that man, he's loyal, he's faithful, he's kind. Mse, watu wanachangwa tipia chuoni, mimi nachangwa tipia thao. Ati? Yes.
Objection mheshimiwa.
Objection ya nini?
Pama alipigwa mpaka simu ikapoteza ringtone.
Hey! Between me and you, who does this? Hey, who does?
Top of the morning to you all. Karibu tena sana to Good Morning Kenya. My name is General Boy. As always, we appreciate that you have chosen to start your morning with us right here. Nothing but the best lined up for you, and it is Thursday. And as we always say, Thursday's a new Friday, and we get to shut it down with a lot of entertainment that we have lined up for you. It is the last day of September. How has your month been so far? We'd love to know where you're watching us from this morning, so why don't you check in? We will be giving you our social media handles and hashtag that you can be using in just a bit. And today it is the two-woman army. Ni mimi na girl dem on the other side of the studio. Girl dem.
Wagwan.
Makofi kwako. I'm so proud. Baka ya pisi yangu inaanguka. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning to you.
That's more familiar.
Oh yeah, my morning has been fantastic. You need to ask me how my month has been. Please ask me.
How has your month been?
I'm a September baby, so it's been fantastic. It marked the beginning of a new year.
Yes.
I have learned a few things about myself. I have come to appreciate how far I have come and how good a place I am at this point in time. And I wish that September, at least for the last 2 weeks, of September, continue being replicated in my life for as long as I'm alive.
Amen.
Because they have been the best weeks of my life.
Tunasemanga from your lips
to God's ears.
There we go.
Araka raka. Apart from an incident I experienced yesterday. I think I need to share, because we're talking about value for money. So Jane, yesterday morning, I took a casual walk from the office to a certain retail supermarket. And without fear or favor, I went to Naivas, Hazina Towers. And I went there to buy a snack. I went there to buy a pepper steak pie. Upon coming back to the office, and I took a bite into the pie, man, I was hungry, yeah? Our day begins at 3:30 in the morning. something was off about this particular pastry. So, being inquisitive, I start opening up the pastry, only to find a single piece of meat. In a whole pie, there was only one single small piece of meat.
You walikunyima nyama yako
moja
enye umelipia ukapewa nyama moja tu.
For me, I felt robbed.
Yes.
Literally, because first of all, I spent money.
Yes.
Yeah. Secondly, I was already anticipating.
I know.
Of a fleshy, fresh, good tasting pie. My taste buds were thrown off balance. You know, so there was no correlation with what I'm seeing, what I'm tasting, and what I had gone to buy. So I go onto their social media pages and actually put it out there. Then they DM me, they tell me that I need to get in touch with them so that they can rectify the situation. Then I went back to thinking, when you're doing supplies, when you're doing supplies, if you've run even a shop, when you're doing your supplies, you already know, sugar, I will spend this sugar for this day. I will spend this amount of beef for this and this and this. So it's not a matter that they did not know. They knew. And then the question is, Jane,
yes,
have we come to a point, in as much as we are all suffering under inflationary pressures and such, when will actually local outlets embrace quality assurance? You see, international brands could not allow something like this to happen because it will besmirch their reputation.
Yes.
And they will lose clout and clientele. But local outlets really don't care. Umenunua, you cannot refund you, it doesn't really matter. But then, how do people, perception? Because right now, there is no way I'm going to shop at that particular supermarket for anything.
You know, Ray,
they already lost me at that point.
Looking at this global enterprises and all, and even from in the west side of the divide, there's this specific job that is titled QA, a quality assurance position.
Yeah.
And almost all the big brands have this position available. But when you come to the Kenyan space, it's very hard for you to come across a QA if they're not working for an organization that is not based in the country online, or it's a foreign-owned organization. But you find for most of the local organizations, they don't have a quality assurance agent or manager to just look at those small things. And this reminds me, there was also, I think it was sometime last year, you also bought a pastry.
Yes.
And
I quit.
Biting into it.
It was rotten.
Weird.
It was stale.
Funguaing it, the meat was rotten.
I think maybe the universe is speaking to me. Maybe
do not buy pastries anymore.
Yes, maybe the universe has been having a conversation with me, but I've been quiet. But hey, universe, I have heard you.
The universe will only speak to you enough times. The more you fail to listen, the more
you continue suffering.
No, it will shout.
Okay,
and when
now
the universe shouts.
It shouted yesterday, and Naivas, man, I'm done. You just lost a client, just like that, because we cannot continue doing this. You know, then I even wondered, why didn't I just walk across Java and do the same? You know? Anyway, that was that. Hiyo ni hadithi, tuseme ni hadithi. Thursday is the new Friday right here on KBC Channel 1. This is Good Morning Kenya. Today is a two-girl damn army, as
tell them.
Likes to put it. And what women can do, I mean, we do it better. We do it better. We don't know what's up with Victor, but well, we're here, and nonetheless, we have so much lined up for you, including what has been happening in the last 24 hours. Remember, there's been a power play in, the surprise cabinet shuffle. Yesterday there, we saw Charles Keter, Monica Juma, Eugene Wamalwa, Margaret Kobia. All this was a shuffle, not a reshuffle per se, but a mini shuffle from one docket to the other. Some were stripped of their duties, others added more. We'll be looking at that in not too long. And also, when you talk about where we are in as far as the economy is concerned, telco giant Safaricom released a certain report, actually, just showing how much they had contributed to the economy during the financial year 2020-2021. And what has come out clear is that Kenyans use, or rather fuliza, 2 billion shillings a day. 2B a day. Think about that. Are you living on debt? But they're saying the good thing with this particular app is that you pay for stuff when you run out of your e-wallet cash, and you get it is instantly repaid immediately you deposit or you receive monies on your e-wallet.
Check off of some
Yes.
sort.
So now that's where we are. And there's been a question, are we going to see a reduction in power prices? All these questions are going to be answered in not too long as we continue in the headlines right here on KBC Channel 1, and we are live and we would love to hear from you. Tell us where you're watching this particular broadcast from, and you can reach us on Twitter. Official station handle is at KBC Channel 1 News. We have at Jane Wimboy and at Ray Manyara. Good morning once again. It is the 30th of September 2021, and I'm Regina Manyara. Indeed, just trying to check if you have the correct dates. We already see that you're already tuning in. We have Jackson Kihara there, Gashushe from Nairobi area watching, as well as Tom Wema. Remember, we welcome your feedback. What do you think about the stories that we're about to air for you, as well as the rest of our particular broadcast? Remember, we have been doing a special report in regard to the current drought situation there. And yesterday we were talking about the effect, or rather the impact that it will have now that government has declared drought a national disaster. Now, crossing over to those stories making headlines, that Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Monica Juma is now in charge of the Ministry of Energy. In a cabinet reorganization Wednesday, President Uhuru Kenyatta moved Charles Keter, who was until yesterday in charge of energy, to the devolution docket. Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa has been moved to the Ministry of Defense. The president also rearranged state departments, with a big casualty being in the Ministry of Labor, that has lost social protection and senior citizen affairs to the Ministry of Public Service and Gender.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has made a minor reshuffle in his cabinet, moving Defense Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma to the Ministry of Energy, and our place has been taken over by Eugene Wamalwa from the Ministry of Devolution. Charles Keter, who served as Energy Cabinet Secretary, is now the new Devolution CS.
The presidential action promotes enhanced operational efficiency, institutionalizes the implementation of various ongoing groundbreaking reforms, better orients portfolio responsibilities with both national development plans as well as the needs of citizens, and introduces functional changes that shall make the relevant ministries and state departments more efficient.
The changes have also seen Major General retired Gordon Kihalangwa moved from Public Works to the State Department for Energy, while Dr. Engineer Joseph Njoroge, who was PS Energy, has been moved to the State Department for Transport. Solomon Kitungu, who was PS Transport, has now moved to the State Department for Public Works, while Nelson Marwa takes over the State Department for Social Protection, Senior Citizen Affairs Special Programs. The State Department for Assaults from the Ministry of Devolution, together with that of Social Protection, Pension and Senior Citizens from the Ministry of Labor, have been transferred to the Ministry of Public Service and Gender. The Department of Special Program from the Ministry of Devolution has also been transferred to the State Department of Social Protection, Pensions and Senior Citizens Affairs. The President has further renamed the State Department of Special Programs to State Department for Social Protection, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs. The Ministry of Devolution, the Assaults area, has been renamed Ministry of Devolution. The Ministry of Public Service and Gender has also been reconstituted and renamed as the Ministry of Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs, while the Ministry of Labor, Social Protection has been reconstituted and renamed as the Ministry of Labor.
About that reorganization yesterday, and we welcome your feedback. What do you think? Is it an issue of, power play? Well, remember, it's a runoff towards the general elections come 2022. And so much has been said about what the president did yesterday. What is your take? We are on Twitter at KBC Channel 1 News, at Regina. For me, Regina Manyara, you'll get me at Ray Manyara, and at Jane Wamboi at Jane Wamboi. Now, the Ministry of Health has begun an ambitious campaign targeting to vaccinate over 5.8 million people against the COVID-19 by Mashujaa Day, that is the 20th of October. Now, Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe, who launched the National Accelerated Vaccination Campaign dubbed Kuwa Shujaa Pata Chanjo Tufungue Nchi in Kiambu County, has devolved units to work with the Ministry of Health to increase vaccination uptake.
Health CS Mutahi Kagwe, while officially launching an accelerated countrywide mass COVID-19 vaccination campaign in Kiambu County, said the gains in the fight against the pandemic may be lost because of what he termed as vaccine apathy.
Know that we have got international partners who are working with us. But as Manisha said, it is not enough yet. We are appealing to the world community to start and to stop vaccine apathy.
Kagwe says the mass vaccination campaign is driven by the arrival of multiple COVID-19 vaccines in the country, saying the ministry aims to ensure 5.8 million Kenyans are vaccinated by October 20th and a further 10 million by the end of the year.
We intend to intensify and start a mobile program for taking the vaccines to the people. And Governor, this is the first one that we are doing, introducing the mobile system of taking vaccines to the people. And to that extent, we are appealing to other county governments to do exactly the same.
Be brought as closer to the patients as possible. So we are now pushing more of NCD drugs to the rural areas, to level 2 and level 3. All we need is a medical personnel who monitors. And once it is dispensed, it is enough to last that person a month, and you don't have to go to the hospital.
The CS said once a sizable population is vaccinated, the government will proceed to open up the economy and remove the curfew.
We can open the entire hotel sector. We can open all the bars. We can open all the pubs to the hours that legally they are supposed to operate. Because we can do so if people going into those pubs have been vaccinated, and therefore there is no spread.
He lamented about some rich countries vaccinating children against COVID-19, while some people in third world countries are yet to get the jabs. As of Tuesday, September 28, 2021, a total of 3,712 vaccines had so far been administered across the country.
5.8 million Kenyans to be vaccinated by October 20th. That's the government target as it intensifies its fight against the COVID-19 virus, and promises that if this particular number is achieved, we might well have the lifting of the curfew. Question: if you've not received your jab, why not? Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has said his government is committed to providing universal health care to all Kenyans through a single unified benefit package that is affordable. The president said over 326,000 vulnerable Kenyans have been identified to receive health care services under the Universal Health Care Program.
Will be able to access quality and affordable essential services that they need for their health and well-being through a single unified benefit package without the risk of financial catastrophe.
Speaking when he officially opened the Nairobi Metropolitan Services NMS Kibra Level 3 Hospital in Kibera, Nairobi, the head of state said the 24 hospitals he commissioned in the city in August will be scaled to 28 hospitals to improve access to healthcare, especially in informal settlements targeting 3.1 million Kenyans.
In August of 2020, I commissioned the construction of 24 hospitals across Nairobi's 17 sub-counties with focus on informal settlements and other underserved areas. This program has since expanded to target the construction of 28 new hospitals and the expansion as well as the rehabilitation of 4 more hospitals across the county. The Nairobi Metropolitan Service has already identified, registered, and qualified over 326,000 vulnerable people for NHIF support.
He noted that the over-reliance on Kenyatta National Hospital had stretched the health system in the city.
Nairobi, the country's capital, with a population of close to 5 million residents, has seen over 40% of its population over the years rely on Kenyatta National Hospital as their first point of access for health services. This has resulted in this county of Nairobi registering the worst health outcomes and disease burden nationally.
On his part, ODM leader Raila Odinga, who had accompanied the president, called on the government to consider bringing back the Kazi Mtaani program to assist the many jobless youths.
Ingine, Mheshimiwa Rais, hawa vijana wameshikwa sana ni mambo ya COVID. COVID imekuwa kali sana kwao. Wamekuwa nani sana. Waliniomba atile mambo ya kazi mtaani. Ikiwa kama inaweza kurudi wangesikia vizuri sana.
The new health facility is part of 24 such hospitals being constructed by the government as a broad plan to decongest Kenyatta National Hospital, Mama Lucy, Pumwani and Mbagadi hospitals.
Now, as Kenya joins the world in commemorating the World Heart Day yesterday, poor lifestyles, lack of exercise, too much cholesterol, overweight and uncontrolled sugars, as well as heavy drinking have been attributed to increasing cases of heart conditions and cardiovascular problems. Now, speaking in Mombasa during a free heart camp organized by Aga Khan Hospital to enlighten the public on heart diseases, Dr. Mohammed Salim said heart problems are preventable by observing healthy lifestyles and controlled sugar levels.
Under the theme Heart Choices, Not Hard Choices, this year's World Heart Day focused on ensuring that people are able to make heart-healthy choices wherever they live, work or play to reduce cardiovascular diseases. To mark this day, a section of health professionals held an awareness campaign at the Medihill Hospital in Parklands, Nairobi.
The incidence of cardiovascular disease is more all over the world. It is the #1 killer in the world, and almost 17 to 18 million of the people die from the cardiovascular disease all over the world. Out of 5 cardiac death is due to heart attack and stroke.
The Vice Chair of the Parliamentary Health Committee at the National Assembly, Mishra Kiprop, who graced the event, challenging Kenyans to have confidence in the expertise available in the country and not always rush abroad whenever they are diagnosed with a terminal illness.
Today, Kenya is the leader in Africa in medical tourism. Under the president, our leadership of our president, Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, his dream, universal health coverage is making, we are heading there. Rome was not built in a day, but it will be his legacy. I know that each and every one and all Kenyans will get the medical attention with basics, primary, secondary, tertiary, and the far and high-end medical practice.
He said the government has successfully addressed the severe shortage of specialists that had existed over the years. According to experts, the burden of heart disease is significant in Kenya, with cardiovascular diseases causing 25% of hospital admissions and 13% of deaths.
The blood pressure disease is so much in our community. High blood sugar is so much in our community. Many of them don't know. or those who know are not well controlled.
Nimekuja kutibiwa sukari, pressure, ina mambo ya moyo pia nimetibiwa.
Well, then now you know, reduce your sugars and maintain a healthy lifestyle to avoid heart problems. Now, the government says the Nairobi Expressway and the bypass master plan are at 70% complete and will be ready by March next year. Transport and Infrastructure Cabinet Secretary James Macharia, while inspecting the project, said the president is scheduled to commission the two in April 2022. The two roads are meant to enable the country save 100 billion shillings lost annually in city traffic jams. As Ruth Wamboi reports, motorists will pay between 100 and 1,500 shillings to use the roads.
% completion of the Nairobi Express Highway and the bypass master plan. Traffic congestion along Nairobi and its environs will soon be a thing of the past. The major road project in the country aimed at opening up the city 70% complete and will be the first expressway in East and Central Africa. According to Transport CS James Macharia, once complete, the roads will attract more investors to the country.
GDP growth will be massive and Nairobi will become a really attractive place for foreigners coming to visit, coming to invest.
What the president has planned for the city, he is determined and he is in the process of executing a decongestion plan that will be successful.
Infrastructure being one of the big four agenda by the government, Macharia says the president has already surpassed the 10,000 kilometer that he promised in his manifesto when he was elected in 2013.
And not just commercial, but also they help in our diplomacy. And that is very important in terms of our global geopolitics.
There is a plan that is coming slowly into fruition. These traffic jams will end and we will have an improved level of traffic.
The CA says the country loses 11 million shillings hourly in traffic jams and the road will come in handy. The acting chief executive officer Rift Valley Highway, who is among the private partnership investors in the project, said they are committed to ensure the project is completed within the stipulated time frame.
I'm here to reiterate our commitment to deliver this project very soon, and you can be sure that the team is working very hard.
On that note, we take a quick break. We'll be right back with so much more, including what has been making headlines in the business circles and in the sporting arena. Do not go away.
What you were doing here with her. Come on, speak up now.
Deanna, listen to me. I thought I was meeting you here.
As for me, I was also surprised when I saw him here, right, Alejandro? And then suddenly I felt that a man took hold of me, and when I turned around, it was San Roman.
What? I knew it. I knew that hypocritical and malicious creep was going to put doubts in your head about me.
Is that why you called? What, are you afraid I'm going to sell the letter to your enemy? Relax. Besides, the offer I gave you still stands as long as you can...
As long as I give you what?
If you want to know if I raped Madame Sati, I did not. She tried to seduce me. If I go against the incarnation of Horus, I will not be forgiven by Osiris.
Just trust me. You only have to deliver this drink to the Pharaoh.
Asenath is back in Avaris.
Asenath, the daughter of the priest? I only request that the meager slave be killed, dear Potiphar.
That's right, Judah.
We can't rest until we find Joseph.
I miss my son Joseph more than anything. I would be the happiest man in all the lands if a merciful soul would come to me and tell me that Joseph is still alive in some corner of the world.
Don't just stand there! Save her!
I believe that your brother is grieving even more than you. So I suggest that you keep your friendship with her a secret from your brother. If you want to do right by Miss Hung, pull yourself together.
If that's all you care about, then go ahead and forget you ever even had a son.
I am from Changzhou Prefecture. My family have all been killed. I'm the only one left.
Viazi ni chakula nambari 2 muhimu sana hapa nchini Kenya.
We are a critical player in the development and supply of seed.
Ili wakulima wa zao hili wapate mazao ya kumezewa mate, utumizi wa mbegu zilizoidhinishwa ni muhimu zaidi.
Umuhimu hizi za huku za hazina magonjwa, utapata mapato mingi kushinda yenye utanunua huko kwa kishagi.
And our path to food security is anchored on ensuring significant improvement in farm productivity by enhancing the quality of farm inputs.
Morning. If you're tuning in, this is In the Headlines on KBC Channel 1, and I'm Regina Manyara. Thank you very much for keeping us company. Remember, we are live and you can reach us on Twitter. For your feedback, include where you're watching this particular broadcast from. It is Twitter. On Twitter, you can get me at Ray Manyara, and we have our official station handle at KBC Channel 1 News, and my colleague at Jane Wamboy. Now, on our special report, Marsabit County has made a name globally as a cradle of mankind. Currently, there is pain at the cradle due to a prolonged drought. Over 1,600 people are bearing the brunt of an acute food and water shortage, further compounding the perennial problem of insecurity in the area. This even as stakeholders insist that there is an urgent need for a dynamic shift from a crisis-led response to a proactive approach that builds resilience and reduces the impact of drought. In the 4th edition of our special assignment, Bane of Hunger, Safin Achieng Oma brings you a report from Marsabit County.
Ingia kwangu huwezi pata hata maji drop ya kukunywa. Kwenda kuchinja fisi kwa sababu ya njaa.
Approximately 540 kilometers from Kenya's capital, Nairobi, we enter into Marsabit County, the largest county in Kenya, bordering Ethiopia, home to approximately 460,000 people. We We are here to see how the region, renowned as the cradle of mankind, has been affected by Jilali, as many locals here refer to the devastating drought. It's lunchtime by the time we get to Seven Lerapo's homestead by the fireplace, cold. Seven was left home to care for the hungry children as other family members embarked on the daily search for water, food and pasture.
Because of drought, nobody is at home. They've gone to look for pasture and water. There's no food. Whatever little we get, we first feed the children. Then if we are lucky, we get something to eat, which is becoming rare.
The burden is even heavier for those with livestock.
Iko miti inachimbwa chini na anatolewa mbali, ndio ng'ombe kuna kitu nakula mpaka kuja kule hii miti kutolewa. Na si rahisi kutoa, na mtu iko njaa hawezi toa, na hapa iko njaa ile zaidi.
Hii ward yangu ina location 3. Hiyo ni Karare ward, Karare location, Songo location na Low location. Zaidi ya 3,150 households wamekuwa affected.
Karibu kila mtu ameathirika tu kwa njia fulani, lakini hasa wale wameumia. Watu wengi wanategemea mali, mifugo na mashamba. Last season hakuna chakula tulipata kwa mashamba. Pia wanyama, nyasi tulikuwa naye kidogo wakamaliza, sasa hizi hatuna wanyama nyumbani.
According to the Marsabit County Commissioner Paul Rotich, over 160,000 people are affected.
We are at that crisis level. The food situation is not good, both for humans and for livestock. We are estimating around 160,000 persons directly affected by the drought. The most affected constituencies are actually North Horr and Laisamis.
As we make our way to North Horr, which is among the most affected constituencies, we meet an exhausted Roba, an elderly woman from Shufisa village, accompanying these donkeys to a nearby water point. Robe has walked for 30 kilometers to get here, a trip she makes every 2 days.
I've walked for almost 30 kilometers now. Other members of my household have also left home in search for pasture. The water I fetched today is for 20 households. That means after 2 days, we have to come back for more water.
Our next stop is Burgabo location, a 20-kilometer stretch off the Marsabit Moyale road. It is an endless expanse of bare land. Animal carcasses line our path to Mzee Bonaya Abdubas Manyata. Today, he has nothing to feed his 6 children.
Due to the failure of rain, the livestock has migrated to an area about 200 kilometers away, leaving us with no source of milk or food for my children. I'm not employed, and so for now, I'm depending on relief food from the government and well-wishers.
At Robe Okas Manyata, we are greeted by a sight of desperation.
I used to depend on my neighbors, but for now, because of the drought and COVID-19, everyone is facing a hard time. I eat well only on days when we receive support from government. The rest of the days, it's surviving on the little we get or nothing at all.
This is the Burgabo water point, the only functional borehole in the entire location, which was rehabilitated by a local NGO. It is not enough to meet the demand for water in this community.
This water is not enough. The water for home use is only 120 liter drum per day. Even to get that 20 liter is a struggle. It's a great problem.
As we leave, we can still spot herds of emaciated livestock making their way to the water point. The scramble for water continues at the Dosawachu borehole, which is decorated with herds of livestock. The Veld Hunga Hill Fair organization is working with pastoralists in the region to ensure that they can plant and harvest pasture for their livestock even during the drought.
We have 3 rangeland in Merile, which is in the Sami sub-county, and 2 in Moyale sub-county. In Adesa, we have 75 beneficiaries, whereby we are trying to rehabilitate the 200 acres of rangeland. The reseeding was done in May 2021, and the harvesting was done in last week, September.
The program has really helped us, especially during drought. At least I have something to feed my livestock, which saved me the long walk in search for pasture.
There are 4 parameters to measure food security, which include availability, accessibility, affordability, and quality. A far-fetched reality for residents in these hunger-stricken communities who for now have to overdepend on relief food.
Watu wanaumia kabisa kabisa, hata watu hawatoki kwa nyumba mpaka unaonea huruma. Saa zingine watu wanapata sogam na sio kila mtu anapata hiyo, ni wachache ndio wanapata sogam, na hata hiyo sogam huwezi kutusaidia kwa sababu mtu akipata kama 50 kgs ya gunia, karibu kila mtu anakuja kuombana kwa kikombe. Hiyo siku hiyo moja tu watu wanakula hiyo chakula, siku ya pili hakuna kitu.
From bearing the brunt of the locust invasion to coming face to face with the acute problem of food and water crisis occasioned by the drought situation to the perennial problem of insecurity, residents here can only hope for a better tomorrow, and that these challenges will not soil the rich history of Marsabit County, which boasts of being the cradle of mankind. Reporting for Channel 1 News from Marsabit County, I am Safin Acheng Ouma.
As the country...
Reports there that have been running consistently since Sunday are also available in case you missed them in real time on our website as well as our YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 there on YouTube. Bane of drought. It's going to be running at least for this week as we send various reporters to various parts of the country to just look at the drought situation and the interventions therein. To the political scene, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the National Council of Churches of Kenya have pledged to work together in promoting good governance and integrity as the country edges closer to the 2022 general election. Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Chief Executive Officer Talib Mbarak and EACC Chairperson retired Archbishop Eliud Wabukala said they have resolved to sensitize the electorate so that they make informed decisions at the ballot.
The country gears up for the general election next year. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has moved to rope in partners in the quest to empower the electorate on qualities to look out in their leaders before making a choice. Both entities noting loopholes in the election laws which make it difficult to bar leaders with questionable academic qualifications and integrity from vying for elective seats.
There's that constitutional clause which says that a person will only be barred from holding a public office when all the avenues, legal avenues, are addressed. So today there's a gap. If you get an MP with fake academic papers and you take him to court, you cannot tell him to stand down. You'll wait until you get the ruling.
To see people informed about their decisions to elect the right people to office. We are also trying to seek citizen participation in keeping unity and peace, because after elections we must be together.
This as the virtual hearing of a petition challenging a law that stipulates that all aspirants seeking elective positions possess a university degree began on Wednesday before High Court Judge Anthony Mrima. Lawyer Tom Ojenda argues the law passed in 2017 is discriminatory and wants Section 22 of the Elections Act be expunged. The section states that all candidates for the 6 elective positions in the country, including members of county assemblies, must have at least a university degree. Judge Mrima will make a ruling on October 15th. Meanwhile, Orange Democratic Movement grassroots leaders and all members elected and nominated on the party ticket have been urged to retreat to their respective areas to coordinate and support the mass voter registration drive. The decision was made during a meeting of the party's Central Committee.
Counties, Samburu County government has distributed 200 camels to cushion residents of Samburu East from harsh effects of drought. The Samburu County Chief Officer in charge of livestock, Benedict Lemuntunai, says the camels will provide milk to the women and children as well as the elderly pastoralists that have migrated with their herds in search of pasture. Details of this and other stories from the County News Roundup.
Residents of Samburu East constituency who have been adversely affected by the ongoing drought have a reason to smile after Samburu County government distributed 200 camels. According to Samburu County CEC for Agriculture, Benedict Lentumunai, the camels will cushion the families, especially the pastoralists who have been left with nothing.
Tunaona wakati huu haswa ukame umezidi. Ukame umekuwa mwingi na sisi kama county tumekaa chini na tukasema sasa lowland ile kitu kama solution ya lowland ni ngamia peke yake.
Meanwhile, the government through National Drought Management Authority is trying to ensure no one loses life to starvation by ensuring affected households get food and water. The Drought Management Authority in Mandera has provided spare parts for boreholes in an effort to mitigate the drought situation in the county.
Worth 1.5 million ambayo inaenda kutengeneza zile boreholes zinapambu maji usiku na mchana ili watu wetu waweze kupata maji ya kuendelesha maisha yao.
In other news, over 7,500 residents of Chumvi and Makurian locations in Laikipia North are said to benefit from clean water that is piped from the slopes of Mount Kenya. The sentiments were echoed by Governor Ndiritu Murithi, who stated his administration is keen on improving production at the grassroots through the provision of clean water.
Watu 7,800 ikiwa 7,800 ambao watafaidika na mradi huu. Ni mradi ambao gharama yake ni zaidi ya milioni 140. Pia kama vile tunafanya sehemu zingine za Laikipia, tunalenga sana kutumia maji kwa kufanya production. Upande huu ni production mifugo yetu, lakini pia ukulima.
Finally, EPZD Finance General Manager Dennis Kinyua says that operators have contributed immensely to the economic well-being of the area and deserve to be acknowledged. NTSA officials Lawrence Maina said the partnership with EPZD will ensure the humane capital that uses motorcycles as a mode of transportation is safeguarded from road carnage.
Na hawa bonda ndio wanasaidia kusafirisha wale wafanyikazi wafike kwa ule muda ama wakati unaofaa ndio wafanye kazi.
Now, crossing over to matters business is that the government has renamed the expanded Ukunda and Manda airports in Kwale and Lamu County to Diani and Lamu airports respectively to reflect on the destinations they serve. This is part of efforts to boost tourism activities in the coastal region.
Hospitality industry players are banking on the completion of major infrastructural projects, including the Dongo Kundu bypass and the expansion of Ukunda and Manda airports in Kwale and Lamu, to boost tourism activities at the coast. According to Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala, the projects will open up the coastline hinterland and reduce transport costs.
Now, I've had discussion
with the Kenya Airport Authority plus the Ministry of Transport on the extension of the Diani runway so we can encourage more airlines and bigger planes to come into the Diani airport. And we made it very clear, can we have the name changed from Ukunda Airport to Diani Airport? Same thing, we need the name change from Manda Airport to Lamu Airport.
The tourism sector has been struggling following global travel restrictions amid the COVID-19 pandemic, with industry players focusing the domestic niche to remain afloat.
World Tourism Day this year talked about travel for inclusion. And there's no better way than to talk about inclusion in travel and tourism than here in Diani itself. It's apt all over the world. Last year, we saw tourism being crippled to its knees. All is not lost. I think we've all learned that there is a silver lining to every cloud. For those of us who are in the hospitality business, it taught us to concentrate on the domestic market.
The expansion of the Manda Airport runway from 2 kilometers to 2.4 kilometers at a cost of Kenya shillings 121 million will enable it to handle bigger aircrafts of up to 300 passengers capacity. Ukunda and Manda airports will have their names changed to Diani and Lamu respectively to reflect on destinations they serve. The Kenya Airports Authority is also in the process of upgrading the runway of Malindi Airport in Kilifi County from the current 1.4 kilometers to 2.4 kilometers. The upgrade of the 3 small airports at the coast will boost connectivity within the region and other parts of the world.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has directed the Ministry of Energy to implement new recommendations that will see the cost of electricity reducing by a third within the next 4 months. This is contained in the Presidential Task Force on the Review of Power Purchase Agreement that recommends fast-tracking reforms at the Kenya Power, as well as reviving the power purchase agreements with electricity generators.
The Presidential Task Force on Review of Power Purchase Agreements was constituted in March this year in response to concerns on the high cost of electricity for both individual consumers and businesses. The key findings of the John Ngumi-led task force include the vast differential between KenGen and independent power producer tariffs and electricity dispatch allocations, the lack of proper demand forecasting and planning leading to irreconcilable projections as against demand. The existing risk allocation imbalance between KPLC and IPPs further exacerbated by poor contract management frameworks and an uncoordinated institutional architecture that contributes to enhanced operational costs passed on to consumers. The task force recommends that interventions to be implemented to reduce the cost of electricity include review and renegotiations with independent power producers to secure immediate reduction in power purchase agreement tariffs within existing contractual agreements, KPLC to undertake a forensic audit on the procurement and system losses arising from the use of heavy fuel oils. President Uhuru Kenyatta has directed KPLC to include the names of directors of companies that it has contractual agreements with in its annual reports in efforts to enhance transparency. President Kenyatta directed the Ministry of Energy to immediately implement the recommendations to ensure that by December the cost of electricity reduces by a third.
Will be a welcome relief not only to Wanjiko but also the manufacturing industry. Now, rising crude oil prices and costly foodstuffs due to drought being experienced in the parts of the country remain the key risk to the rate of inflation. Central Bank Governor Dr. Patrick Njoroge says high fuel prices are especially likely to have the most strain on inflation.
Crude oil prices on the international market hit a 3-year high as Brent crude crossed the $80 a barrel last witnessed in October 2018. Brent crude has increased by about 55% for the year to date. This is a concern for policymakers at the central bank, who project the increasing fuel prices are likely to exert inflationary pressures on the economy in coming weeks.
And you can see how it has grown, or rather how the price has increased and now, as of September 22nd, was $74 per barrel. Actually, yesterday it was $78.3 per barrel as of yesterday. So you can see this has grown, has actually risen quite a bit.
High fuel prices in Kenya, coupled with a drought being experienced in parts of the country, is also affecting food prices, which increased 10.7% in August.
The concern here is more in terms of weather, and also somewhat the supply of those products to the various markets, but it's largely weather related.
He said new tax measures are also contributing to the rising commodity cost, contributing 1.78 percentage points to overall inflation.
The tax measures in the finance bill will, of course, and indexation will continue to make their presence felt. And the contribution, as we said last time, we calculate the contribution to be something in the order of 1.78 percentage points to overall inflation.
The government is banking on the reopening of the global travel industry and COVID vaccinations to lift up tourist arrivals, whose forex injections would help support the shilling.
We are still off our highs, and you can see even January, February last year, we are nowhere near that. But I think the point is that, again, the sector is beginning to pick up.
Now we cross over to the sporting arena, where new Harambee Star coach Ejin Firat has recalled Spain-based Ismael Gonzalez of Velocheng, who plays in South Africa, and goalkeeper Farouk Shihalo in the Harambee Star squad that will be playing against Mali in the upcoming World Cup qualifier match. Firat yesterday named a 34-man provisional squad for the qualifiers.
Joash Onyango of Simba FC in Tanzania has also been recalled to the squad for the first time since March. Richard Odada, who made his first senior start in the opening match of the campaign against Uganda, is also in the squad. Local-based players will enter camp this Thursday, while the foreign-based players will link up with the team based on their league commitments over the weekend. Harambee Stars will lock horns with Mali away in Morocco on 7th of next month, before traveling back for the home match on 10th same month. Kenya, which is in Group E, is currently second on the standings on 2 points, 2 behind leaders Mali and level on points with Uganda.
All the best to the 34-man squad there ahead of the World Cup qualifiers. Now, the Kenya national rugby sevens team returned home last night from Canada, where they took part in the 2-day leg of the 2021 HSBC Sevens World Series season. Kenya won bronze after finishing third behind champions South Africa and silver medalist Great Britain.
Oh, sit down! The Kenya national rugby sevens team safely arrived home from Canada, where they secured a bronze medal in the 2 legs of the HSBC Sevens World Series, held in the cities of Vancouver and Edmonton. Kenya collected a total of 34 points from the 2 legs in Vancouver and Edmonton to finish third behind champion South Africa and second-placed Great Britain. Kenya began their Vancouver leg positively beating Spain and Mexico in the group stage on the 18th of this month, before losing to eventual champion South Africa in their final group match. Kenya went on to beat USA in the cup quarters in Vancouver and then Ireland in the semis, before losing the final to South Africa. The same record was replicated in Edmonton a week later, where Kenya defeated Chile and Spain in the group stage but lost to the United States in their final pool match. They went on to beat Germany in the cup quarters before falling to South Africa in the semi-final, but defeated Canada in the third-place match to secure a bronze medal. The team takes a 1-week break before beginning preparations for the new season. Only 12 teams took part in the 2 legs, with the other 7 teams, including giants Fiji, New Zealand and Samoa, missing out due to COVID-19 travel restrictions.
Now, you may be wondering why we have not talked about what happened yesterday in the Champions League, or even the fact that Manchester United beat Villarreal there. But you know what? Arsenal has been having a field day after what happened over the weekend. But hey, we are still Man United there. At the same time, Lionel Messi at least scored his first goal for PSG against Manchester City yesterday, and actually the game ended at 2-0 in favor of PSG. Remember, he had quite a starter in the first start to the season. That and so much more is available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Viva Manchester United. We take a short break. We'll be right back with more.
Ten counties and 5 million people between them. Above them, a dark, ominous cloud of pathos, of hopelessness, as nature unleashes trouble against a large section of our population.
Sijawahi kuona ukame ile leo Habaswein iko naye, sijawahi kuona.
Since the government declared drought a national disaster, KBC has been on location to assess the nature and extent of the drought situation in Kenya. Beginning Sunday, September 26th to Friday, October 1st, join KBC at 7 and 9 p.m. for a full picture of the looming crisis in many parts of the country.
Stand there! Save her!
I believe that your brother is grieving even more than you. So I suggest that you keep your friendship with her a secret from your brother. If you want to do right by Miss Hung, pull yourself together.
If that's all you care about. Then go ahead and forget you ever even had a son.
I am from Changzhou Prefecture. My family have all been killed. I'm the only one left.
It is now a year since we started investigating Mr. Soloshi.
You'll have to go out of town and lay low for a while.
Do you know that guy who's wanted by Interpol? That's Baduza.
Oh yes, and that's how he was found. Dead.
We're emailing you something big.
You absolutely need to get out of here.
If only we got that tape.
You won't and will never bring me down.
Oh. It's like a brother to me. Can't believe.
Viazi ni chakula nambari 2 muhimu sana hapa nchini Kenya.
We are a critical player in the development and supply of seed.
Ili wakulima wa zao hili wapate mazao ya kumezewa mate, utumizi wa mbegu zilizoidhinishwa ni muhimu zaidi.
Umuhimu hizi za huku za kari hazina magonjwa, utapata mapato mingi kushinda yenye utanunua huko kwa kishagi.
And our path to food security is anchored on ensuring significant improvement in farm productivity by enhancing the quality of farm inputs.
Welcome back. We continue with Good Morning Kenya. We now move on to have a quick look at what the papers have for us. Kama kawaida, 4 different dailies. I have a copy of the Daily Nation and the People Daily. Let me just run you through the front pages. A lot of pictorials have been featured here on the front page of the Daily Nation, with the main read saying Uhuru cuts Ruto power in reshuffle. And they go on to say that DP's allies are the biggest casualties in the cabinet changes. Charles Keter moved from the Energy Ministry to devolution as Labour Minister Simon Chelugui loses key departments, that is social protection and pension, as well as senior citizens. Now, that is the main read right there. But looking at this as a stories that have been featured here on the header. Number 1, cheaper electricity at last. In the next 4 months or so, we are set, the cost of power rather, is set to go down by a third. That is a story that has been covered here on the back page, which is good news for us as a people. I mean, in the recent past, we've just been seeing prices of commodities skyrocketing, always on an upward trajectory. But as of in the next 4 months or so, the prices are going to go down by a third. And a good example that has been put here is that consumers who normally spend 500 bob on power on a monthly basis, they are expected to start paying at least 330 Kenya shillings by the end of December, just to show you how much the power will have reduced by then. On to some health is that the 10 million target when it comes to COVID-19 vaccination might be elusive, in as much as we have acquired quite a huge number of vaccines in the country, but still they are not enough. And one of the reasons that has been noted by the CS was the apartheid that is in some rich countries, which have already started rolling out the vaccination process on children, while there are other countries in third world, middle and third world countries that haven't even started vaccinating their adult population. Politics still finds its way here on the front page, with ODM leader Raila Odinga firing warning shots at Wanjigi for opening offices without the go-ahead from their the party head as well as the headquarters. And ODM's Raila Odinga has threatened to discipline businessman Jimmy Wanjigi for opening parallel party offices, escalating the conflict between the tycoon and the party leader Raila Odinga. That is the Daily Nation. Briefly to take you through the front page of the People Daily. Pretty much the same stories that have been featured on the Daily Nation. Uhuru directive to reduced power costs again has been featured there. Coming to the main story here is Ruto men lose say in the cabinet reorganization. Again, a story that was on the front page of the Daily Nation. And finally, Kagwe hits out at rich nations over vaccine, the apartheid, quote unquote, that he attributed to some of these countries that have started vaccinating children, while the other countries that haven't even vaccinated their adult population. Ray.
Let's start off with the Star. So the front page of the Star is talking about, the completion, or rather the near completion of the expressway, and the timelines are said that the president is going to be commissioning this particular expressway April 2022. Apparently, the project is 70% complete, and once complete, Kenyans will be charged between 100 shillings and 1,500 shillings. So the president has delegated also when it comes to matters of politics. Remember, it's a run-up towards the 2022 general elections, and we have been seeing a few changes here and there when it comes to the political scene. So there's an article here, actually the big read on the Star this morning, is that Uhuru plans to corner Oka chiefs to back Raila. So on Tuesday, we saw Raila meeting up with Mount Kenya billionaires and tycoons. Well, if it was not a political season, we'd just say it was a meeting between factions and persons who have, goals, or rather mutual goals. But we all know that, it's a political season. So now the president has delegated the task to Mount Kenya tycoons and allies after the first attempt crashed. And we're talking about that particular meeting that President Uhuru Kenyatta had last month with members of the OKA team, or alliance, so to speak, to just try and, come up with an alliance to support, or rather rally support for Raila Odinga there. Now the plan has changed, and the president has delegated that to Mount Kenya tycoons. We're going to be giving you details, but in a sneak peek review, that is what happened, just borrowing from what happened on Tuesday. Also, we have a story here saying that Kangata is in a comfortable lead in governor race, and we'll be giving you details. Remember, this is what has been captured by the scribes this morning in this particular daily. So also the mini reshuffle, Keter Chelagui stripped in the latest cabinet changes, as well as that particular article that I mentioned to you, rather that particular fact, after telco giant Safaricom released their report and their capital injection to the financial year 2021-2022. So Kenyans process 300 loans and per second, 300 loans per second in 2021. And 2 billion in Fuliza per day. Now we want to have a listen into the new CS, so to speak, of Defense, Eugene Wamalwa. Let's have a listen in. Well, there's a lot of talk in regard to what was happening there. Was it power play? Was it does politics have to do with that particular mini reshuffle there, where President Uhuru Kenyatta, overhauled the energy ministry by moving CS and PS to other dockets hours after directing full implementation of the report. So now we have been dealing with an issue of drought, and a few Kenyans spread across the country, staring at starvation. So I think in his last act as the devolution CS, so to speak, Eugene Wamalwa is flagging off a food, food to those particular persons and in the various counties. Let's have a listen in, and this is happening at Uhuru Park.
Vaccines that will go towards the affected pastoralist communities. So though it is a difficult situation we are facing as a country, we want to appreciate the support and friendship of our international partners. For me, I'm very, very humbled this morning to perform my last duty as the minister in charge of the development of the ASAL region of this country. And I want to thank His Excellency the President for reassigning me new duties in the defense docket. Indeed, it's a very humbling experience to be moved to such a sensitive and challenging docket, and I take this opportunity to sincerely thank His Excellency the President for the confidence he has shown in me, and I pray that the good Lord makes me equal to the task ahead. For the governors that I have worked with for the period I've been in the devolution and ASAL's docket, I want to thank them. And I want to really particularly thank the second-term governors who really laid the foundation stone for devolution in our country. And in particular, thank the governors from the ASAL counties. I know that they are facing huge challenges, including the drought that we are facing now. But we will continue working with them. And I look forward to working with my colleagues who are taking over the docket of devolution and the ASAL. I'm very happy that my colleague who has taken over the ASAL State Department, P.S. Kobia, is a very experienced public servant. And she also comes from a very unique county that is green on one side and semi-arid on the other side, the Igembe, Tigania side. Meru is a very unique county, and I believe Professor Kobia is very well placed to take over this docket and to work with the ASAL counties. I wish her well, and we will continue giving her all the support. I look forward to now moving to the security sector. I have worked very well with the governors, and I look forward to working with the generals now. Asante sana.
How many tons
are you now flagging off?
Yes.
And what does it contain?
Yeah, what we have here is animal feed. You do remember we flagged off over 8,000. Now today we're doing another 8,000. Next week we'll be doing over 16,000. In total we're looking at 32,000 that will go to all the ASAL affected counties. Apart from that, we are also moving food now, relief food to the affected counties, and from next week the food will be distributed in all the counties, right from Turkana all the way to Tana River. So we are looking forward to working with the affected counties, but also urging the counties as our first line of defense in a disaster situation like this to also do their part. So it's going to be a partnership between the national government, the county governments, and our international partners. And today, Badawi, we just want to thank you once more and the UN family for the support we continue receiving, and assure Kenyans that the government will not spare any effort or resource towards supporting the affected counties with our partners who are here with us today.
Now you have stayed in this revolution for many years and you have experience.
Yes.
What advice are you giving to the incoming CS?
I think one of the most important things that is actually I would say the oxygen of devolution is good intergovernmental relations. I'm very, very proud that as I leave the devolution docket, intergovernmental relations are at an all-time best. We have never achieved this, and the incoming CS, my brother Keter, I wish him well, and I would urge continued improvement of these good intergovernmental relations so that all county governments know that the national government is not there to compete with them but to complement what they're doing. There are no Kenyans who belong to the national government and Kenyans who belong to the county governments. We are serving the same Kenyans. We are only two levels of government serving the same people. So we must continue working together. We must continue strengthening the partnership between the national government and the county governments and our development partners, as well as private sector. We must see how this partnership can make devolution work better for us now and in future. For governors who are in the ASAL counties, I want to say that this constitution that was promulgated right here to Uhuru Park over 10 years ago, and this president who has overseen the implementation of this constitution has changed the fortunes of our borderland counties, and they have been moved from the borderlines to the center of our national development. In 1965, we looked at the ASAL region as a low potential region. But today, the ASAL regions hold the highest potential when it comes to energy, renewable energy. The windmills of Turkana that are there today. When you look at the solar, the potential that is there. You look at the oil that is in Turkana and the water aquifers we have discovered. This region holds the future. It's like the proverbial saying in the Bible, the stone that the builders cast away has become the cornerstone. And the ASAL counties hold huge potential, both in food security. Once we complete the dams, we'll create new bread baskets in these ASAL counties that were looked at as low potential in 1965. In 2021, they hold great potential. And it's been such a pleasure working with these governors, the FCDC, the Chair Ali Roba, my good friend Gulaid, our partners from the UN, the EU, the USAID. We want to say we're really humbled to have had the opportunity to serve. Thank you. Asante Sam.
Thank you very much.
Asante.
Now that is Cabinet Secretary Defense there, Eugene Wamalwa, speaking to us live from Uhuru Park as he just finalizes on a project that he's begun as the Devolution Cabinet Secretary. Then remember, Charles Keter is going to be taking over the Ministry of Devolution, whose Department of Arid and Semi-Arid Lands, ASAL, was moved to the Ministry of Public Service and Gender. and Eugene Wamalo now takes over as over the defense docket. There's been changes in the cabinet there, and these changes were also announced after a meeting between President Kenyatta as well as Keter Njoroge and the Presidential Task Force on the review of the power purchase agreements. Remember, there's been a public outcry in regard to the high cost of power, and as we were just looking at, just giving a sample of what has been making headlines in the various dailies that we have with us in studio, and that is one of the main stories that we have in this particular daily. I have the Standard and the Star. So looking at the Standard, that is what we have on the big read there. As the president moves to reduce the cost of electricity, the president wants the task force report implemented within 3 months to cushion Kenyans, and sources said that Keter and PS Njoroge had expressed reservations about the practicality of the Ngumi team's recommendation. Now we're going to be following up on the recommendation as per what was contained in that particular task force report, so you might want to keep it KBC Channel 1 here as we focus on business. Being Thursday is a business day, so you need to catch up with my colleague Brian Kimani as soon as we're done with matters of Good Morning Kenya, as well as Betty Kiptum in the afternoon, and in the evening Cynthia Nyamai on Business Insight. You're sure going to find this story in more detail there in our subsequent bulletins there, as I've mentioned. So when you talk about the issue of the task force, it found that the major contributors to the high cost of power include a huge disparity between what Kenya Power pays KenGen and what it pays IPPs. And when I say IPPs, I mean independent power producers, with the latter appearing to be making a killing when selling electricity to Kenya Power. So what you also need to know is that Kenya Power does not generate power but distributes. It distributes power. KenGen and IPPs, those are independent power producers, generate power. And in its other findings, point out that poor planning and deep rot in the electricity sector is one of the reasons why you and I are paying top dollar, or rather top shilling, when it comes to matters of electricity. Remember, there was just a review, an upward review in the last financial year as presented in the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics report for the economic survey. It shows that, consumption of power went up during the COVID year, what we're terming 2020 to 2021, and also the increase of cost of power went up from 1 kilowatt hour from 2.2 shillings and 89 cents to 3.09 cents per kilowatt. So this also is going to affect the cost of production, and when cost of production goes up, it means you and I as consumers bear the brunt, because the manufacturer is not going to bear the full full cost of production while we are consuming the products and services. So matters of electricity, or the cost of power, really affects even how we do business, and even how much you get to spend on a few services and goods therein. So in the next 3 months, we'll wait to see if the implementation of this Ngumi task force is really going to change things as they are when it comes to cost of power. So that is one of the main stories that we have for you here in as far as the Standard is concerned. And since we're already getting into the details, I'd want to also draw your attention, and it seems matters business are taking center stage, Jane, here, with Kenyans now fulizaing. That's not English, neither is fuliza. Fuliza is Swahili. So Kenyans are fulizaing 1.2 billion shillings daily. Are you living on debt? That's a question. I think all Kenyans are, by virtue that we have, foreign loans and such, but I'm asking you on a personal level, are you living on debt? Some few weeks back, actually months back, Jane, this is what happened to me. Someone challenged me to do my value, to take stock of my value in debt. Yes. Your value in debt. You need to know how much do you owe either a SACCO, a bank, a Shylock, a friend, a brother, a mom. Look at your value in debt. And it is quite a sobering moment, Jane. Because that's when you come to understand that in as much as you are spending X, Y, Z, you are owed XYZ. And it makes you, just better understand, what do I need? You prioritize so that you can get off debt. And I know a person who said that for them, they would never, ever take a bank loan, ever. But that's a conversation for another day when it comes to bank loans, because we have been talking here, I think on Monday, there was a case that we highlighted from one of the dailies that, showed that, banks went and repossessed property and sold it to auctioneers, undervaluing the property. This is something that is actually happening to a majority of Kenyans when it comes, those people who find themselves indebted to the banks. But the issue of debt, Kenyans are using Fuliza 1.2 billion a day. I'm talking about a day. I'm not talking about a year. I'm talking about a day.
And this is one platform only.
One.
We haven't even gotten started with the many other fintechs that are out there thriving on the backs of so many, and it's the younger population especially. And it's pretty sad because there still was a report that was put out a while back. I don't quite remember the time, but it did indicate that so many Kenyans are taking loans for basic needs. Food, to pay basic bills, not to sort of, put up a project or a business. It is just for basic survival, And it's a very sad situation, but it's the reality for so many people who are struggling. This goes to speak of the unemployment issue that is in the country. Underemployment also is a problem that many people don't realize until you come to realize when it finally hits you, like, yo, I have been underemployed here for so many years and I need to do better, or I need to leave a so-and-so organization. But then again, 1.2 billion a day from one platform. Fuliza is relatively very new. I don't think it's been over a couple of years since it was introduced.
It was launched in 2019.
Yes.
It was launched in 2019, while M-Shwari was launched in 2012. And what this particular report indicates is that Kenyans have opted to go for Fuliza, unlike M-Shwari. Because if you look at the performance between the year under review, that is the 2020-2021 financial year, there was, this is as per the Sustainable Business Report from that particular telco, 94 billion shillings. The telco lent 94 billion shillings through M-Shwari over the same period. That's a 27% drop from 129.6 billion the previous year.
Mobile money. Can you imagine how life was before phones?
Man,
it's the same way. Looking at this story concerning electricity and the prices going down, you can imagine how much pressure you get when there's no power. The need to say, nakumbuka sijacharge simu, nakumbuka sijafanya nini, daylight is almost running out. The pressure you get when you don't have electricity, which has now become a basic need for so many people, if I may say so, it's having such news that prices are going to go down is such a relief. It's such a relief because electricity has become a basic need.
Talk about electricity, if not even just electricity. I think the other dependency that we are cultivating in the 21st century is the internet.
Then there's that. Okay, personally, I can survive without the internet, but I would prefer to have it. It's a preference, but I can survive without.
Can you, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
Yes.
All that.
I can comfortably stay away from the socials.
And when you say internet, we also mean WhatsApp.
Even WhatsApp.
Like you can stay off.
I can. Comfortably.
You're mature. You are the mature peeps we are looking for. Where?
For real. I can, do away with it. I would prefer to have it, but when push comes to shove.
Okay. Then the other dependency we have is of our phones.
Nayo kuwa na simu nayo ni muhimu.
Communication.
Like,
Let alone the communication. It has become everything. You do your emails on your phone.
You literally.
You check your calendar. You check your time through your phone. So other than communicating, you're also doing your emails. You're also reading books. Some of us read our books online. So we are here. So having this gadget and the pain that anyone who's lost their phone knows the pain they go through. It is heartache upon heartache. Not because of how valued the gadget was. A majority of time, it's not the
inconvenience that it will come with.
The inconvenience, the sentimental value. Whoa. As they say, technology is driving the fourth industrial revolution. We are here. I read somewhere, it's an article I read, and I saw some technology that has come up to embed a microchip onto you. Like you have a microchip in your body, and it saves you all that. Like when you're going to the airport, you just scan your arm or something and all your details appear. Everything you need. You do not need to have a gadget with you. Yes. You are a gadget in yourself. So it got me thinking, what if I got hacked? What if the microchip inside me got hacked? What happens?
There's always a loophole.
The more we have technological advancements, the more we are exposing ourselves. Because I remember having a conversation right here when we were having that conversation with the Kenya Depository Insurance Corporation there, with the MD there, Mahmoud Ahmed, mentioning that hackers will always be a step ahead. Hackers will always be a step ahead. So as we're moving with technology, we also need to be alive to the risk of exposure. And remember, you leave a digital footprint every time
you go.
You are online.
Yes.
You leave a digital footprint.
I saw guys
you're online.
They're actually building smart homes, and there isn't any analog when it comes to the structure of the house. They get a chip embedded right here. If you want to open the door, you just beep, it opens. If you want to lock the door, beep, it opens. If you want to set off the alarm or to key in your code on the alarm, beep, you key it in. Everything is based on that finger, on that chip that is embedded right here under your skin.
Wacha niongee kama mtu wa Kanairo.
Na kila member ako nayo.
We go that direction, people will be losing their fingers and their arms, left, right, and center. I don't think we're ready for that, especially
but
here.
But like snatchiwa handbags, snatchiwa vidole.
Yeah, if they're watching on a handbag, if someone has the audacity to pluck your earrings from your earlobe and even your necklace from your neck, and others have the audacity of even taking away your wig, Talk about if they know I live in this maisonette somewhere XYZ and I have a chip. Yeah, they'll go with my hand or my finger for that matter. I don't think we're ready for that. But hey, that is where we are going. We might not experience it in this day and age in the next 20, 50 years. But technology is here and it's not going away. I mean, look at how we are, everything is on cashless transactions right now. That is the power of technology, Internet of Things and such. But also a report indicated that over the last financial year, and this was this was a Communication Authority report that was released beginning of this week, that indicated that for the last quarter of this year, that is 2021, it indicates that there's been an increase in cybersecurity threats, with impersonation and online fraud taking the lead. People are posing as Jane, people are posing as Regina, as Dennis, as so-and-so, and they defraud people. And also this swim swap thing, So there's more risk of exposure as we continue investing in, technological development. So people need to be wary. You need to be wary. All you need to know is that data is king. Yes. The way you go checking out videos online, answering questions online, this is all just about, they take your information. And a majority of these particular apps are not so good. So you're also exposing yourself. So be a little bit diligent, exercise some diligence when you are online, or rather when you are surfing.
All right. Now, speaking of the Communication Authority, I am focused on the future. These are the words of the new incoming Director General of the Communication Authority, that is Ezra Chiloba. And in as much as his return has been as termed as dramatic, just as his exit from the IEBC was, he says that the past is the past. It was just like a bad dream, fast forgotten. Now, as the new Director General of the Communications Authority of Kenya, he is keen to rise again. In his own words, he said, where I am right now, I am focused on the future. The past had its part and it's gone. He went on to say that for the 3 years I was away, I had great time to reflect, learn and prepare for the next challenge, and I can now state that my sword is sharp, my heart is satisfied, and my faith sure about the challenges ahead. He went on to say that some of his areas of immediate focus will be to transform the Communication Authority into a regulatory agency that puts Kenya at the front of technological change, and he is planning to build an institution that is responsive to the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century, given the ever-changing ICT space. So he's here. He's committed to the job. Of course, people have so much to say. And speaking of people having so much to say, there's even a caricature of him here that is quite interesting. Just, you know, the way we say the internet never forgets and the past will always have a shadow. We'll be able to get this image better for you, but looking at this caricature right here, you can't quite see it well, but this is a caricature that is meant to resemble the new Director General of the Communications Authority of Kenya. This here is a building with a logo of the Communications Authority of Kenya. We'll be getting you this image in a bit. And behind him is the IEBC, which is seemingly on fire. And this being a representation of Chiloba, he seems to be hiding his hands behind his back, and there's a flame that is slowly but surely burning behind him. Let's just quickly get this image for you, so that you can see the many thoughts that people have had about the return of Ezra Chiloba right there. So you can see akona kamoto ameficha nyuma ya mgongo, IEBC on fire here as he runs towards the Communications Authority of Kenya building right there. But then again, let us not be quick to judge. Let us wait and see, you know, how his time in office as the Director General of the Communications Authority will be in the next 4 years. Ray.
As I say, the past will always leave a shadow. What can I say? But I also said yesterday, a good pot twice.
Inapika mara mbili ama zaidi.
If it's a durable pot, my friend, utapika na leo, kesho kutwa, mtondogo. I'm done. That's where my Swahili week done. Yeah. So yeah, about pots and such, it's neither here nor there. Now let's cross over to the Star and talk about, let's see, we might want to move away from, you know, the politics and such, though we are in the politicking season. I want you to take you to the corridors of justice. There are quite some stories there. So we're talking about how witnesses came and gave a witness account that helped solve a few murders that had made, you know, headlines. We have the Bishop Luigi's murder, as well as, you know, lawyer Willie Kimani, as well as Solomon Karanja, that principal there. So now a cop has denied being at the scene of lawyer Kimani's murder, says he was in Juja. This is AP officer Leonard Mwangi on June 23rd, 2016, says he was at his Murera farm. So he's among one of the police officers charged with the murder of human rights lawyer Willie Kimani on Wednesday, and he's denied charges. You know, however, The court also heard that while his colleagues were writing statements in regard to the death of Kimani, his client Josephat Mwenda and driver Josephat Mwirori, he guided Officer Olesina and others to his house to conduct a search. He had rented a place in Mlolongo. The officers took the inventory of what they found on 4th July, and there was a Huawei handset on a red Masai shuka and 3 polythene bags. So the bodies of the 3 were reportedly driven to their deaths at 7 p.m. in a thicket in Mlolongo, and they were dumped in a river in Oldonyo Sabuk and recovered 1 week after. We'll still be keeping tabs on what is happening in regard to that particular case. Crossing over to still another story from the corridors of justice, we're talking about the Joey the murder of business lady Monica. So Joseph Irongo alias Joey, who was charged with the murder of businesswoman Monica Kimani, called a witness on the night she died, asking for paraffin to burn some stuff. I take that again. And this is just reports from the courts yesterday. So Joey, who is charged in the murder of businesswoman Monica Kimani, called a witness on the night she died, asking for paraffin to burn some stuff. This is according to Brian Kasaine, who told Justice Grace Nzioka that on the night of September 19th and 20th, 2018, he was asleep when with his wife, when Irongo called him through a WhatsApp asking for paraffin or anything flammable, or even an air freshener. That is according to a witness who took to the stands yesterday. He added that Irongo sounded odd and hyper. So prosecution counsel Catherine Mwaneki asked whether Irongo specified what kind of stuff he wanted to burn, but he said he did not mention it. Kasaine was a friend and neighbor to Irongo and his ex-fiancée Jackie Maribe, who is a co-accused at the Royal Park Estate in Lang'ata. What can I say?
Hakunanga siri ya watu wawili.
We'll also be keeping tabs on any development in regard to that particular, court case there, where Joseph Irongo alias Joey is charged with the murder of businesswoman Monica Kimani. To Eugene.
Yes, let me just touch on a bit of politics. It has been some of the major stories here on the Daily Nation are on that particular area. And then, of course, we've touched on the reshuffle, the mini reshuffle that was done yesterday, as was aired by the spokesman of State House. But as we bring this segment to a close, just to touch on this particular story here, concerning what is happening within the ODM party, with Raila Odinga sending warning shots to Wanjigi after he opened parallel party offices. And he just went on to say that there will be discipline measures that will be following those who will be opening parallel offices without the approval of the national office, and they will face disciplinary action as a result, because they are not supposed to do so. And this, in as much as they didn't mention names, but this was clearly targeted to Mr. Wanjigi, who has been critical when it comes to Mr. Odinga and has been accused of by officials of opening these offices without the approval, and it is contrary to the ODM's party policies. And on the other hand, we have ODM chief who is set to attend a key KANU meeting this morning. Also, those who have been invited to this particular conference by KANU party leader, that is Gideon Moi. He has also extended an invite to Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, as well as Wetangula. And as per what experts say, they expect Gideon Moi to declare his presidential bid at this particular conference. And given ODM leader is not invited just as any other attendant, but as the chief guest in this particular conference. So we'll see how that plays out once that conference is underway. But for now, we want to bring this particular segment to a close. Remember, this has been in the headlines where we just have a look at what the papers have for us. But right now, we want to move on to all more that we have lined up for you. And of course, this being Entertainment Thursday. Ray, utatufungia kama neno?
Kabisa. You know, when we mentioned that Thursday is a new Friday, I have a few of our viewers who are actually thinking that today is Friday. Well, can I say we shape opinions right here on KBC Channel 1 every morning, so to speak. So Thursday is a new Friday. We didn't say that you don't get to go to work tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, but as far as we're concerned, Thursday is a new Friday. So Kenani Waimbu, we have Wanyonyi, Victor Wanyonyi Barasa, as well as Mombi Ireri, Barasa Enoch, Genesio Karaoke, Jega Shusha, Josephat Okindo, and Omondi Nyangla. Yes, Nyangla. Well, it's Thursday, but we're doing it the Friday way. So do keep it right here. Lots of entertainment coming your way.
People, seeing wild dogs is a dream of a lifetime.
The only way I can differentiate between these two individuals born on the same day, same sex, is using this small white unique spot.
Last night they only got a small prey, so they're hungry.
That thing killed all these packs within a span of 2 months.
She's been down for about 25 minutes now. We only have about 10 more minutes to go. They could lose up to 20 animals in just 10 minutes.
If you want to know if I raped Madame Sati, I did not. She tried to seduce me. If I go against the incarnation of Horus, I will not be forgiven by Osiris.
Just trust me. You only have to deliver this drink to the Pharaoh.
Asenath is back in Avaris.
Asenath, the daughter of the priest? I only request that the meager slave be killed, dear Potiphar.
That's right, Judah. We can't rest until we find Joseph.
I miss my son Joseph more than anything. I would be the happiest man in all the lands if a merciful soul would come to me and tell me that Joseph is still alive in some corner of the world.
To me what you were doing here with her. Come on, speak up now.
Diana, listen to me. I thought I was meeting you here.
As for me, I was also surprised when I saw him here, right, Alejandro? And then suddenly I felt that a man took hold of me, and when I turned around, it was San Roman.
What?
I knew it. I knew that hypocritical and malicious creep was going to put doubts in your head about me.
That why you called? What, are you afraid I'm going to sell the letter to your enemy?
Relax. Besides, the offer I gave you still stands as long as you give
As long as I give you what?
ni aje, yeah. Sema penzi, how you been? Umepotelea wapi? Umefanya nini na nani? Unajua ati baby it's cold outside. Penzi, won't you come inside? You don't have to hide your love. Unajua ati baby I'm your guy. Penzi, put your pride aside. You don't have to hide your love. Sema penzi, how you been? Habari ya maisha. I miss you my teacher, yeah. Sema penzi, how you been? Umepotelea wapi? Umefanya nini na nani? Unajua sema ate baby it's cold outside. Penzi, won't you come inside? You don't have to hide your love. Unajua ati baby I'm your guy. Penzi, put your pride aside. You don't have to hide your love.
Penzi, I've been fine. Sijui nisemeje. Oh, niko poa. I miss you. Imagine hajui kunipa love. I don't know why I ever left you. Oh, mbona sikukupata? Unajua ati that is cold outside. Mpenzi, can I come inside? I don't wanna hide my love.
Missing Dodger, baby, now that you're with him and you're not here, nakuhitaji. I'm used to it, you know, nimekumiss, nitakupenda milele. Even though I'm not around you, there'll always be room for you right here kwa roho yangu. Unajua ati baby it's cold outside. Penzi, won't you come inside? You don't have to hide your love. Unajua sema ati baby I'm your guy. Penzi, put your pride aside.
I'm gonna put
You don't have to hide your love. Unajua ati baby I'm your guy. Penzi, put your pride aside. You don't have to hide your love.
You're my guy, yeah.
Penzi, how you been?
Thank you so much for staying with us this far. In case you are just joining us, karibu tena sana. This is Good Morning Kenya. I am Jane Wambo. Remember, you can always be part of this conversation. Use the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. My handle is at Jane Wamboi across all the social media platforms. Much love going out to everyone who's already tuned in. Now, Richard Mohia Boro anasema Oh, this is in regards to the previous segment that was in the headlines, saying that you can have all the technology available but never accept a chip in your body. That is in line with the conversation that we were having when it comes to the tech advancements that we are seeing in this day and time. Much love going out to Chelimo. I see you there retweeting our feed. Brian Mukasa, thank you so much, as well as Jared Ombui. We appreciate you. Remember, check in with your location. Tunataka kujua mnatupata mkiwa pande gani ya Kenya. So we get on to our first conversation for the day, and this is on Entertainment Thursday, but largely focusing on the lifestyle segment. Our lifestyle segment. Tell us a bit about your journey getting into the music space to where you are today. Ulianza kivipi?
Mimi nashukuru sana, yani nilianzia Mombasa hiyo time, yani mimi nimezaliwa nimegrow Mombasa, nimesoma Mombasa. Kila kitu Mombasa, wazazi wangu wamejenga Mombasa, vitu kama hizo. Tumezaliwa mimi, brother yangu na sister yangu sote. So tulipomaliza shule, babangu ndo alikuja na cassette fulani akanipatia. Hiyo cassette ilikuwa konia Wu-Tang. Nakumbuka Wu-Tang Clan hawa marapa wa majuu. So alivyoniletea mimi nilikuwa na hizo siku hakuna kama sasa hivi na flash nini na nini. Tulikuwa tunasikiza kwa hizo boombox ama uko na discman. Discman ni kama yani
Discman ilikuwa the bougie Walkman
unaweka cassette. Unaweka cassette sasa ndani. So nikisikiza ni mi kitu ili ni sound ya tofauti sana, ni muziki ilikuwa tofauti sana, ni hip hop ilikuwa gritty sana, ni ilikuwa hard. Alafu vitu wanaongea vitu za mtaani ambaye pia kwetu zinafanyika, polisi sijui nini, unajua vile hizo injustices zote zilikuwa hiyo time. Nani unanielewa? So mara nikaja nikacheki KBC, nikaona nani hao mazee Kalamashaka, nikashindwa sasa. Kumbe hiki kitu inaweza fanyika na Kiswahili.
Maajabu.
For real inaweza fanyika na Kiswahili sasa. Haya, twende sasa basi. Mimi nikaanza pia kuandika tu hapo. So far nilianza kuandika, tukatengeneza magroup kibao kwa fulani, hiyo yetu ya Mombasa, tukatengeneza Wachokozi, mimi na Shaulin na Alaike, tukatengeneza Wakamba wawili, mimi na Agano, tukatengeneza tena uko fulani Mau group kubwa sana yani ya change muziki sana, ni ya hip hop yani. Tuseme Africa yani ilikuwa tu poa sana yani. Mpaka sasa hii ikakuwa la balaa, mpaka leo ni la balaa.
Balaa sio. Na ukiangalia, you know, when you were getting into the music, uliingia because the passion was there and uliona ni kitu ambao unaweza fanya na kwa lugha ambayo it's home. Now getting into the industry, before you even get to form the groups that you did, interact with the people that you did, ni nini ambayo kuhusu industry ambayo you were not expecting but ilikuhit kama reality ingine heavy?
Okay, mimi kitu ambacho ilinishtua ni tulika sana yani ile kustruggle ile ndio muziki toboe, unaona, yani ndio watu wasikike, yani unajua uanze kuchezwa kwa TV ambaye kitambo kwanza ni kitambo ilikoko kuchezwa kwa TV ilikoko si mchezo, yani unajua yani ile yani lazima ukisha shoot lazima ukuje na tape uje uachie wakae nao for almost 6 months ndio uje uanze kuchezwa. Lakini kitu ambacho ilinishtua sana ni ile ni after your struggle yote, yani umestruggle for a while, all of a sudden wewe huyu hapa umehit, pesa zimeingia, ulikoko unashinda njaa. Sasa unatembea na ka 40k mfukoni, umetoka show, umetoka sijui wapi, umeitwa sijui appearance gani, unaona. Hiyo ndio ilinihit kuwa ni kumbe kitu inaweza fanyika na ukakuwa na do
na kitu ika happen. Now when all this was happening, unaona tumefika hii place sasa tunaanza kutengeneza do, ndio hiyo kamefunguka, I can do this, I can do that. Ulikuwa na hiyo self control or composure enye you feel uko nayo sahi kama msanii ukiangalia venye umegrow over the years, ama ilikuja as also something very exciting?
Hiyo ndio hiyo time ambayo yani pesa si imeingia. Uko streets za Dandora na 32, hizo ndo street tulikuwa tunakaa. Uko hizo streets yani sasa unaona hii pesa ni mingi, hata ujui ushakula umeshiba, nini next? Ujipige matei, unaanza matei unakuta Agano students zetu West bana, huko ndo kina Abasu wako, unaona kina Dubis wako hiyo area nini tuka record hiyo area. Mkifika huko mnapata steam za huko ni tofauti na hizo steam zenu, unanipata, pesa iko. Sasa unaweza fika hiyo bei hiyo steam hiyo side, unaona, ukishtukizia ushakuwa alcoholic hata bila wewe kujua yani. Uwezi kwenda interview bila kutei. Uwezi kwenda, hata tulikuwa na show pia kwa TV na radio, mimi na Agano. Uwezi kwenda show bila matei. Ukiitwa meeting labda lazima ushuke River Road, ujipige kitu fulani ndio ukuje sasa. Unaona? Alafu after hapo sasa, kwa sababu bado iko steam ina change. Unajipata sasa unaanza kuweka matembe. Hiyo itoshi sana, unaanza kujiwekea matembe. Unapata? naona pia jeshi yangu niko nayo hapo hivyo, wengine wakaona hii sasa hii nayo pia
haitoshi.
Tuanze kunyunyiza kwa nini, kwa sigara. Unaikunja unavuta. Wakaona wengine pia tulitoboa tu nao pia haitoshi. Sasa watu wakaanza kufanya nini,
kujidunga.
Steam sasa inaanza kupanda tu, yani kwa sababu uko na shilingi. So katika hiyo process yote nakumbuka vizuri, so si unajua sasa ushaanza kuharibu. Watu wanajua tukita la balaa ananuka pombe. Tukita la balaa yani amekula vitu fulani za blue, mdomo ni blue, so hata ukimwangalia anaongea tu hivi kwa interview nini, so usite la balaa. Hiyo story la balaa chana nayo.
Ilianza ku affect career yake.
Sasa si ukawa uitu show, uitu tena interview uko tu. So hakuna pesa sasa kwa sababu hakuna pesa sasa, hauwezi ile steam tena. Unalipata ile steam ya pesa kibao, uwezi sasa, unaanza sasa kushuka unajipata sasa, so ulikuwa unakunywa ma old monk nini na nini, sasa umeingia changa mtaani. Sasa unakunywa changa, sasa ni wewe ndio hata unarausha huyo madha, unambishia mama umeamka, ukitetemeka yani. Na wewe ni msanii sasa. Hiyo hata mimi mtaa yangu waliacha kuniita msanii, wakaanza kuniita ule rasta mlevi ule, yani hiyo jina usanii lisaulika kabisa. Hata nilikuwa na ukoto huko chini man, nimelala kwa mtaro. Kwa struggle. Ilikuwa struggle.
Now, shikilia tu hapo kidogo. Let me come to you, Frederick. You know, the entertainment industry, on one side, it is an industry that is phenomenal, that so many young people are thriving in. But on the other hand, it is also bedeviled when it comes to dependency on some of this, for lack of a better words, let me call it stimulants, because most of the time people need to be stimulated. What relationship do you find when it comes to the dependency between a drug use and functionality, and more so in the entertainment space?
Yeah, I find a big relationship. Even as I'm listening to Labara, I'm picking very clear relationship. First, they tend to look for something that can make them gain more courage. And also, when we look at entertainment itself, there is when we are defining entertainment, let us first define what entertainment is. Entertainment, I look at it as obtaining pleasure from a certain event, from a certain activity, which can be performed by self or others. And you find that addiction also is coming from certain pleasurable activities or pleasurable substances. There is a very clear relationship. So when I'm looking at it in two perspectives, the first perspective is entertainment itself can turn around to be an addiction because of the pleasure you gain by performing a certain activity or getting involved in a certain event. For example, in the music, there is that desire to keep on getting deeper, getting higher. And again, there are some other vulnerabilities that come that when most artists start gaining fame, start gaining some money, they tend to desire a certain lifestyle. And maybe they have learned from others who have come before them, who have also developed in some way. And you see, this kind of entertainment, for example, music, is very pleasurable, and also the fame is very pleasurable, such that it is attached to certain objects. Like now, when we listen to a music, listening to Labara, we may not only like his songs, but we could also identify, associate his dressing style. Like the way he is today, he looks more like Labara. Yeah, so there are people who could desire, even young people could desire to imitate even that kind of dress code. And even a t-shirt or whatever is associated with him, even the shoe, I can see this shoe. And you see that all these kind of activities and objects that are associated with the pleasurable event, even in that event, in that show, maybe there are some terminologies that were used that were very pleasurable because of the entertainment itself. So you find that another perspective is that addiction is coming in as associated with the performance of the pleasurable event. or the obtainment of that pleasure. You find that maybe in that show, some alcohol was distributed, people were high, people were using stimulants, and maybe some stories were shared. So you find that other musicians, other artists tend to also get into that. On the other hand, you find that addiction itself is of course a disease. Yeah, we define addiction as a disease that is chronic and a brain disease. It is chronic in that it has no cure. It can only be managed, and managed especially when the person is participating. And so you find that it developed from a substance of abuse or a certain pleasurable behavior that was performed for a longer period of time, and there was a repetition of certain activities involved in seeking the pleasure, obtaining pleasure through a certain behavior or through a certain substance.
Okay.
So you find there is an association between entertainment and addiction. This association, I look at it in the way they both influence the mind. You find both substances like alcohol and stimulants tend to increase the level of dopamine, a pleasure hormone, of course, and you feel happy, you feel high, because the pleasure, the happiness is so high. As well, any other pleasurable activity, especially we don't say that the activities are pleasurable in themselves. It's only a perception of a person, the appraisal that this activity is pleasurable and maybe important. So you find it also increases the level of this happy chemical. So you find that a person is as well happy. So when the two of them are tied together, the condition become worse, because the person will tend to increase performing such behaviors, and as well you find that increasing taking the substance. And now it can happen in many levels. You find that a person attempt or test a certain stimulant and then realize that there is how they are feeling, maybe some courage, there are those new feelings, and then they try to test if they can associate it with the performance, like the show, to feel high or to forget the stress. You know, sometimes they set some standards, and sometimes they feel like they are not doing enough, not performing enough, I'm not getting where I should be, I'm not living to that lifestyle that I desire. So there is that stress also that motivates them to continue seeking the substance, especially alcohol, because it is readily available. But again, we realize that many of the artists are using other drugs that are highly addictive.
Okay. Now, before we even get to continue, I'd like to just throw in a disclaimer at this particular point. Yes. This discussion is not meant to be discriminatory in any way whatsoever, or shape, manner, or form. We are here to educate and to encourage and to offer potential solutions. So if you feel you are part of the group that can relate to this conversation, we are so welcome to share with us your journey, your thoughts, and questions that you may have in regards to this conversation. Now, let me come back to you, Labala. You know, from what Doc here is saying, you know, kuna your relation and those triggers that come along the journey. But looking back at your journey, you know, looking at that space ambao ulikuwa, was fame ever pressure for you to sort of engage in any of this drug use? Iliwahi kuwa pressure at any point? The fact that unajulikana, superstar, you need to keep up appearances?
Okay. Mi, yangu ilinifanyikia tofauti. Yangu ilikuwa koraa. Unanielewa, yangu ilikuwa konira, yani yangu ilikuwa konira, alafu na pia pressure, ni wale machizi, wale wanajeshi mko nao, kuna level fulani wako, yani ile vibe wanasikia, pia wewe unafeel, yani wataka uingie tu hapo usikie, unanielewa? Kwa sababu wengine nimewaona, mi personally nimeona watu wengine ilikuwa ni pressure, yani mtu anajaribu kuwa hiyo jina ambaye amejipatia, unajua?
Ambaye amepatiwa na wasee.
Ambaye amepatiwa na wasee. Yani wewe ni superstar, sijui nini, so lazima keep appearances. Lazima sasa ameanza kuwa na stress kibao sana. Kama tuseme for example, lazima aame, aende akaishi maskani fulani ambaye ni affluential kidogo aonekane ametengeneza shilingi, si ndio? So lazima pia atafute miguu 4 gari. Akishatafuta gari sasa akishaingia hiyo sasa mambo ya drugs nini na matei, so unajua pesa sasa haiko kumaintain sasa hiyo lifestyle inakuwa ngumu kidogo, unaona. Nimeona wengi wao hiyo design ikiwa ndio inawapeleka. Mimi yangu ilikuwa tofauti, yangu ilikuwa kwa kujibamba mazee. Hiyo yolo nilianzia hiyo area, ni hizo enzi zetu nilianza huko, yani ni saa hii kama si sasa ni sasa hivi, unajua. Hakuna tena ati sasa hawajua si atukufundishwa ati kwa sababu mimi ndio mmeanza kizazi kipya, muziki mpya tofauti ambaye haijaonekana, si ndio? Hakuna mtu alikuwa mbele kidogo hapo awafundishe kuinvest, awafundishe sijui kufanya nini, ndio peleka hivi, ndio fanya hivi. Hatukuonyeshwa sisi, unaona. Kila kitu ilikuwa tunaenda tu tukitengeneza roadmap yetu wenyewe,
figure it out,
twende tu tujirushe. Ati kuna wapi sijui Kisumu, sasa uko hapo tao ndani ya gari, hata hujabeba hata bag, utaenda kununua nguo mbele, unajua, kwa sababu nasikia kuna bash huko, sijui nani sijui amerusha bash. Ilikuwa tu yani hivyo, yani kwangu personally. Kwa wengine nimeona ilikuwa ni pressure ya keep up hiyo stardom, unajua, kwa sababu mimi miaka yangu yote nimeishi tu ile design. Mimi ni mtu wa kawaida tu, kama unanijua na kama unapenda muziki yangu, mbona mzuka tu yani.
Ili affect aje muziki yako, like professionally speaking, when it comes to now wewe as an individual, na venye unaandika muziki, venye una produce muziki, process zako za kuandika muziki na kuweka hapo nje, how was it affected directly ukiangalia the impact ambayo hiyo kula raha ilikuwa nayo?
Okay, ambayo si poa kusema, but mimi kivyangu, mimi naongea kuhusu mimi,
your personal journey.
Mimi naongea kuhusu mimi. So mimi kivyangu, yani wakati hiyo time nikiwa naandika, hiyo ndo time nilikuwa naandika vitu, yani ndo niliandika Mungu yuko juu, unaelewa, kumshukuru vile ambavyo hiyo struggle imekuwa, ndo niliandika masong zile ambazo ziko deep kidogo, yani kwa sababu nilikuwa sometimes, yani after ushakunywa usiku ile matei imepungua, unaanza kujiuliza sasa ni nini, what am I doing right now? Nafanywa niko mahali fulani, hii ndio nishatengeneza show nyingine, ni nishafanya hivi na hivi na hivi, sasa mbona niko hapa yani, unaona. Hapo sasa ndo nashtukizia, yani naandikia kama song fulani niliandikia mamangu, nikamwambia siku inakuja usimind, nitabadilika, nitakuwa mtu poa, unaona. Yani hiyo time, yani muziki wangu ili change kidogo, kwa sababu ikifika ile time ambayo ndo nimekuwa soba sasa kidogo tu hivi, naanza kufikiria kuandika nini na nini. Kitu ambacho ili affect sana ni nilikuwa siwezi fanya video, nilikuwa sina do ya video, sina hata ile nishakata uhusiano malinks kibao za watu wa TV nini na nini, kwa sababu anajua huyu ni mlevi, huyu hatuwezi muita sasa, unaona. Hiyo ndio iliniharibia muziki yangu sana, but part ya kuandika nilikuwa sawa.
Okay, now allow me to just use that particular space and come to Frederick, because we have seen even, and not just you Labala, nimepia on so many other people saying, when I am intoxicated, ama senye niko high, that's when I am able to write such beautiful music. I don't know, how does that work? High functionality and still being under the influence of something.
To me, that could interpret a level in the progression of the addiction. Because at the experimental stage, a person does not feel like they are tied, and they don't feel any change, any influence. Even if they feel it is not a big impact. Then when they progress until they get dependency, that is when you came to realize there are some things you can't perform well without the substance. You become dependent, and especially you must have started using because of a certain problem, maybe to solve a certain issue or to add something. So I could like to appreciate the journey that Labara has walked. In fact, it's not easy when a person reaches that point to realize yourself, because a person may think that it is better when I am high, I am under the influence, because now this person is motivated when under the influence of the substance itself, and we call it dependency stage. It involves, in fact, a lot, even withdrawal, that when you are not under the influence of this substance, you find that there are some things you can't do well. It's like, and again, in the withdrawal, still you can feel like you are not comfortable when you have not used. You must use in order to perform well. And now it means at that level, this kind of a substance has interfered with the normal functioning of the body. And you will find even tolerance. A person might even increase using, because the dose that you used yesterday, you have to increase the dose in order to experience the same effect. So I find that relationship as a kind of a dependency stage, which is very dangerous. Even if a person may seem functional, it might have reached a level that is very dangerous.
Okay. Now,
nataka kusema kitu mimi wajua yangu ndo najaribu kusema ni personally, mimi si ati nilikuwa
not for everybody.
Ndio ati nikikuwa high ndo nilikuwa naandika.
Okay.
Nikikuwa high nilikuwa siwezi andika kitu yote.
When you are sobering down.
Mimi sasa nilikuwa nikiwa nimeamka hivi niko sober kabisa, ile kujilaumu. Unajua kuna upatu unajilaumu.
Guilt tripping yourself.
Sasa ni unajilaumu kabisa, unasema sasa ni nini nafanya man. Nina wife ana mimba. Sai soon tutapata mtoi. Tunaishi tunaishi design. Yani nimefanya mpaka tumerudi, tumekuwa nikambe masquatter jo. Na mimi ni msanii, niko na kipaji. Najishtukizia tena nimetoka. Nimeenda nikakunywa kwa sababu ya hiyo. So hiyo part hiyo ambaye nafikiria ndio hiyo time waga nilikuwa naandika ni kwa sababu nilikuwa clear, yani akili ilikuwa clear hiyo time, naweza fikiria yani vizuri yani. Unaona?
So what was your turning point? Is it something that happened, ama situation ambayo ilienda south, or something good happened in your life and you had that sobering moment? You were like, by the way, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep e-cycle going.
Mimi naweza sema ni kitu ya kwanza ni iliko kitu poa kwangu, iliniapenia. Ni huyo dema ambaye nilikuwa naye kwa nyumba. Unaona, huyo ambaye amesurvive hiyo time yote. Nimekuwa mlevi, nimekuwa ni naokotwa huko, nimekuwa nalala, saa zingine nalala kwa stairs, nimeshindwa kufungua mlango. Yani amesurvive na mimi hizo story zote yani. Unaona? Afu sasa akona ball. Unaona? So kuna siku alitoka tu kidogo hivi. Mimi nikatoka na vitu za nyumba. Nikaenda nikauza. Nikaenda kutei. Nikirudi nikampatani analia. Sasa mimi nimelewa, bala ni at least nirudi na nyama nini, si nimeenda nikatengeneza do. Bala nirudi na nyama nini. Mimi nimerudi tu hivyo tena na matei tena zengi na matembe kadhaa. Nikampata analia, akaniuliza ni wewe labda mtoto wako atakuja kukupata wewe ni mlevi. Hiyo kitu silinikula kichwa ni usiku yani. Yani ananiambia wewe ni msanii mkubwa sana. Yani hata tukitembea hivyo watu wanakusalimia. Watu umesaidia vijana, sijui nani amepitia kutoka kwako wewe. Wote yani mpaka wanalalamika, wanasema ni labda tutamfanya nini yani, kwa sababu uko down. Hiyo siku nakumbuka sikumwambia, nilijiambia acha tuonekane naweza kaa 3 hours tu peke yake nikiwa soba, kwa sababu kila time nilikuwa nikiamka hivi so nio imeenda down. Kulikuwa na chupa kwa kitanda, chini ya kitanda, huko kando, yani hata hapa kwa headboard hapa hivi. Nilikuwa nikuduka tu na kuchukua na kufungua na rejea pale nilikuwa jana, unaona. So nikasema acha nikae 3 hours, nikakaa 3 hours. So acha nikae mpaka jioni tuone. Nikakaa mpaka jioni, nikaanza kutetemeka. Acha ndio nikatafikisha kesho asubuhi. Kafika asubuhi mazea ni nishaanza kuharisha, nishaanza kutapika. Sasa hizo withdrawal zikaanza. Sasa nikakuta nimemaliza 24 hours. Sinaweza maliza 2 days basi. Tuone basi. Kajikaza kesho. Kajikaza tena wiki, mwezi, mwaka, 9 years.
Bila kuguza
9 years sasa. Yani kama siwe wife wangu Sara na watoto wangu sasa Imran na Kira, au mademu wangu, yani hao ndio mademu wangu ambao niko nao kwa nyumba. Kama si hao, yani kuangalia ni ile kila siku unatoka kwenda kutafuta kila siku, unajua wao watu wanafaa kuishi life tofauti, hawafai kukaa hapa kama vile wewe ulikuwa unakaa. Unajua wanafaa kuishi ile life ambayo babangu aliniweka ilikuwa poa, hawafai wake zaidi. So unaamka unatoka, so sasa ni naenda 10 years next year, July 2.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, let me come back to you, Frederick. When it comes to finding something to anchor you on sobriety, because for many people, unaweza pata seme stafanya hivi tena, you have that mental resolve, but you don't have maybe something physical enye ambayo inakukumbusha to be on that road journey to sobriety that you have chosen to do that. How would you advise the guys that are struggling to go about finding an anchor that will help them in their sobriety journey, and especially our entertainers in the music industry, film industry as a whole, those that are in the public platform per se?
Wow, thank you, Jane. I see that is a very, very important area to look into. There are many, of course, I agree. There are many people who do not have a way they can get out of addictions, though they have a desire. But also, I could appreciate that person who has a desire, because that is one of what we call recovery capital. You need, you only need a change of mindset for you to have a complete change. And as we mentioned, it behaves like a disease. Actually, it can't be cured. There is no medication for it. It only requires that commitment.
Yes.
And this person, in case you find a person out there, our viewers, who is willing to stop but does not have a way, the first step is to look for a mental health practitioner. We have counselors in the society, and in these days we have so many rehabilitation centers. And in this rehabilitation center, this person is not going to live in a jail. It is actually a home away from home. The only thing you are going to be assisted is not to use. And because some substances are very dangerous, you can't just stop. The withdrawal symptoms can actually cause severe illnesses and big problems, and they need to be managed. In this addiction management, what we normally do, we work as a team of mental health practitioners, and we involve also the medical practitioners on their part, because some of these symptoms are physiological. Like now, if a person is in withdrawal and is having severe headache, another person is having hallucinations, another person is depressed. And then when these kind of withdrawal symptoms are managed, and we also have the medically assisted management procedures, which we also use, so that you are going to withdraw without many problems. And also other drugs like alcohol actually interfere with absorption of important nutrients. So this person needs to eat well. So you see, we even need nutritionists for some cases. So there are so many people who are needed in this case.
Okay.
But now the case manager is a counselor, an addiction counselor. We have addiction counselors. And when this person gets into, for example, a residential treatment program, it is because you could want to be assisted, not to be attempted again. We remove you from triggers. And these triggers could involve even family members. Sometimes we might be blaming these people only to realize that they are infected by the issues of life, issues that are surrounding them. Even some family members could be involved, some family conflicts and the workplace conflicts, and also the various targets that they have in life.
All right. Labala, did you have to go to rehab for your personal journey? Ama this is something that you decided na ukaamua kambaya mbaya, nitapambana na hali yangu hapa nilipo to get back to where I was?
Okay. Mi ile kitu najua kama vile daktari anasema hapa hivi, kwa watu ambao wako na shilingi unajua ni rahisi kwenda rehab kwa sababu rehab unajua si free ati hivyo unajua ni rahisi kwenda rehab. Kwa wale watu ambao sasa ni maboi wa mtaa, yani inakuwa ngumu kwa sababu hizi lipa hiyo area, anajifanyia mwenyewe. Kama mimi yangu ilikuwa ni ile kamba mbaya bro, mimi naimalizia tu hapa tu kwa nyumba, tunahara hapa tunatapika hapa unasikia tunatetemekea tu hapa unaona. Na kama yule ambaye atakayetoboa mbona fresh tu, yani hapo ndio yangu ilikuwa struggle ya kwa nyumba, yani ile yani sitoki. Alafu unajua marafiki sasa wale ambao walikuwa tunakunywa nao sasa wakaanza sikia nimeanza kuacha, wakaanza uzuri walianza kunipatia space kidogo, yani kwa sababu wanajua si mchezo unaona. Mimi yangu nilifanyia kwa nyumba ambayo yani ni waga najiambia ni kungekuwa kunaweza tokezea ni sema hizi za government kasi sijui kazi ziko yani maprogram yani zikuwe za watu ambao wana kashilingi, yani wana shilingi fulani wanaweza fikisha unaona, pia wao waweze kuingia rehab kwa sababu rehab ni place poa, unashughulikiwa, unapigwa vitu za mental zingine mpaka unakuta yenyewe kweli struggle ni real. Wacha niendelee tu kushikilia hivi niachane na history unaona, niachane na history ya drugs ya ulevi ya nini yani unaambiwa unaona. Huku kwingine sisi hujiambia tu wenyewe na unashtukizia. Saa zingine unasikia jamaa anakuambia nimemaliza mwezi, unakaa kidogo unapatana naye after 2 days wazee nilishindwa masala balama za mimi yani mpaka analia kwa sababu ana hiyo moyo ya kuacha iko unanipata, moyo iko ya kuacha,
but enablers ndio hakuna,
atafanyaje unaona. So hata nikaona haya kuna ile design ya kama nilikuwa nasema kama gava inaweza regesha mpaka zile masocial roles za kitambo ambayo watu wanaweza patana alcoholic anonymous unaelewa. Umeacha mwezi, si umeacha kama wiki, lakini unakuja unapatana na watu kama kina Labala miaka 10. Unajua sasa hiyo tu influence tu kidogo tu umekuta naweza yani Labala naweza kukaa kama 10 years yani kama Labala unanipata, yani inaweza make sense yani watu hizo alcoholic anonymous zikuwe pia area kitu kama hiyo.
Alright. Hapa kuna mtu anauliza kindly ask Labala how he deals with triggers in the present to just make sure he doesn't relapse.
Okay. By the way mi bado waga naingia club. Alafu mimi ule mse wa club yani hiyo kabla sasa covid. Mimi ule mse wa club yani unaona zile mamishikiki zile waga zinapita sijui nini na nini, mimi ndio huyo jamaa waga nakula hizo tu yani nikaa kwa club nini. So triggers kuna kama trigger fulani waga nakumbuka sana waga ndio inaniweza hadi ile kweli ni kuna mwenzangu anaitwa Gano akikuja yani vile ile story waga ananiambia jana vile kulikuwa zile mabaa megonga zile mitaa mingi yani zile ma story musiki yani
the fear of missing out.
Na miss hizi story zote jo na miss yani ile sasa unajua sasa nishakuwa mtu mzima na kaa nyumbani na nafika tu nyumbani mapema sababu ya familia watoto wafanyishe homework nini na nini vitu kama hizo si ndio. Sasa Gane anakuambia wewe Labala jo jana mwanzo hata anakupigia simu mwanzo bakiwa huko maskani yani unasikia ni unamwambia maze kesho natokezea yani asubuhi ikifika unajiambia sasa nikienda huko
alafu
si nitakunywa acha survive jo maze Gano maze tupatane studio bro sawa sawa hivyo.
Self control is something that has really helped you stay on board.
Mwanzo willpower yani atakano yani una practice yani si ati kuwe tu ni kitu ambacho una expect kuwe una practice yani ile kwa sababu nakumbuka ilikuwa ni 6 months, ilikuwa nishamaliza 6 months kuna bash tulienda nilienda na wife wangu so kwa sababu watu wananijaribu, kuna demo ni rafiki yetu akaniambia ukunywi siku hizi, nikamwambia mimi sasa nishamaliza miezi 6 bana najaribu jo yani nitengeneze fresh yani ka juice hapa nini na nini inakuja kumbe amemix vitu zake mimi sijajua, akaniletea nilipiga hivi mazesi nilitapika ni like the whole hiyo bashi mzima nilitoka nikitapika nikienda home. Unaona pia kuna hao marafiki waga hawaamini umefanya nini umeacha, wanakutrick wanajaribu kukutrick yani uregee pale so ni vitu mingi sana yani willpower uweze
to withstand your temptation.
Si mchezo mazee.
Si mchezo.
Oh yeah, for real.
Now, Doc, looking at Labala, you know, we can't say it's the same for everyone. Every journey is very individual. You can't have a blanket sort of solution for everyone who's struggling when it comes to that willpower. For those that need to find a healthy way to deal with triggers, how would you advise them to go about this?
Yeah, for those who could want to deal with the triggers, first I want to appreciate the journey Labala's walked. Hey, this guy has worked it.
Come by and buy.
Come by and buy. That journey is not easy, in fact. That willpower ni kitu ilitoka ndani, na it sounds that there was that maturity. Actually, we could have lost him, a very, very important resource in this society, and I imagine he could be continue to mentor more. So when a person want to stop, you may not be able to stop at once. It is a journey. First, you need to agree that it is a journey. You might get back so many times. We call it relapse, going back to the same behavior so many times. But at the end of the day, you will make it. It's important to talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. That person you will find who is positive, who is at least ahead of you in terms of mindset, that this person is not using, at least the non-users. And also to change the company and to walk away from the triggers, because you can't expect to stop when you are still keeping the same friends, you are still keeping the same events that triggers. Because also there is a possibility that some events are associated, even if you don't want. The mind is set in some way that it associates a pleasurable activity with another one. It remembers. There is that memory of that pleasurable activity. So run away from all those triggers. And even if it is willingly, in these days people are willingly taking themselves to rehabilitation centers. And we have people in the society now who are coming up, those who have recovered, just like Labara, who say that now, of course, I have a rehabilitation center, but I could, if you are willing to stop, you can actually come in for some time, and then we will remove the cost from you. You continue to mentor others. Like we have ever done it in Maranatha Restoration Homes in Thika, Nkoiwa, whereby this person has recovered a bit, but could want to deal with the triggers. We put this person in a mentorship program.
Okay.
Yeah, you can even decide to do drug and addiction. We have a universal treatment curriculum, an internationally certified course on addictions. Very, very informative. And some other courses, just even a short course or anything else, train on something of your interest, so that the mind can be busy, meaning becoming busier is another thing. Because whatever you appraise, whatever you perceive as important in your life, whatever you perceive as pleasurable, that will be your lifestyle. So you can change your lifestyle into something else.
All right.
Can I add?
Yes. Too? And also tukifunga, unaweza to just, just take this time to speak your truth to those that are also struggling and would want to sort of find their way back to their former glory or how life used to be or want better.
Okay, kuongezea daktari vile amesema ni kuna historia or kama mimi kama saizi nina watu kama watatu hivi wameacha, unaona? Nimewapatia namba. Nanipata? Nimewambiaje, bro, ukisikia hiyo nakulemea, nivutie. Hata ni flash tu. Mimi nitakupigia. Tutie story. Dakika moja mbili tucheke nini na nini. Au sio? Au majamaa mpaka sasa hii nimestruggle nao for sasa hii kuna ule ambaye amemaliza miezi 6. Ule ambaye ni mingi sana ndio hiyo miezi 6. Wale wengine bado hao wawili bado wako kwa hiyo struggle tu, yani ndio wamemaliza 2 months, mwingine sasa ndio iko wiki ya 3, unaona? So ile design daktari anasema unaweza tafuta kitu fanye, ama unaweza tafuta mtu ambaye amepitia hiyo story, unamvutia, unakuwa kama mko karibu, mnatembeleana, unaenda kumwangalia. Okay. Kuhusu sasa hiyo story nyingine, mimi wacha nisikudanganya mazee. Oe bro, hizi vitu zote ni za dunia mazee, na hizi vitu zote upita, yani Unajua, at the end of the day wewe ni nani kwa hii dunia? Kuna purpose ambayo umeletwa na Mwenyezi Mungu yani. Kuna greatness ambayo iko ndani yako man, inafaa unleash watu wajue Mwenyezi Mungu amekuweka hapa kwa hii kazi fulani ya kufanya. Unanielewa? Kama mimi najua nililetwa hapa yani ni rap ama vipi, alafu nikuwe mlevi nipitie nije nikae hapa mbele nianze kuongelesha. Unaona, mimi ndio purpose nimeanza kuona jajani alinipatia. Drugs ni vitu ambazo zitakuwa wewe una fleeting moment yani ya kujipanga, ya kujitengeneza my friend. Unaona, umalize chuo, usome, uni, umalize, utafute job, utafute wife, utafute sijui nini, yani family, yani unanielewa, land, sijui nini uanze kujenga. Hiyo ndio life inafaa kwa hivyo. Si ati ustop mali fulani sababu ya matei, sababu ya drugs nini na nini. Ufanyika kwa sababu watu hupitia story mingi sana yani. Watu hupitia story kibao. Kila mtu ana story yake ya kusema. Kama mimi nina story yangu kusema, wewe najua kuna story yako kusema na shida kibao zinakupitia. Lakini kuna kitu waga unasahau. Katika hiyo shida ni Mwenyezi Mungu waga yuko hapo hiyo area, hiyo same time na wewe hiyo place yani. Ukachukua tu hii time umuongeleshe. Umwambie jaja mazee, mali iko noma. Mali imefika yani, mimi nafikiria sasa nianze kwanza kupiga matei glass 1-2 jioni ama nini. Ama mimi nakuomba hii inaweza, najua hiyo si njia poa, si unipatie nguvu yani niweze toboa. Mwenyezi Mungu wangu. Oe, waga nasikiza, mwanzo upenda kusikiza watu kama mimi na wewe my friend, unajua? Mimi na wewe ndo waga natusikiza bana, kwa sababu sisi waga tumepotea yani, anajua sasa huyu nikimvuta huyu mbona mzuka tu. Huyu anaweza ongea nao watu wengine, au sio mazee? Mimi naitwa Labala. Tanitafuta @Labala makao, na kama unakuta ni mzuka zaidi nitafute Facebook, Twitter ama mahali kokote ni inbox. Niambie Labala mazee, mimi yani noma mazee, place imefika na shindwa. Tutatia story man. Hata tunaweza ongea. Kwani nini? Tunaweza chat tuka washikaji kama mtu na rafiki yake. Usimind yani, au sio?
Good stuff. Kelly Makau,
jina ya gava,
superstar Labala. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. It's not easy mtu kujieka bea hivyo to the nation for others to learn from them. So shukran sana. Keep up what you're doing, manze. There's a generation looking at you and they are hoping you to be the anchor that they need. Dr. Frederick Osoro,
yes,
thank you so much for offering your expertise when it comes to this conversation. We appreciate your time.
You're much welcome.
Absolutely. We're not yet done with Good Morning Kenya. Tuna superstar mwingine hapa ndani ya nyumba. We'll be coming up with him in a bit. But first, tupate mziki kidogo as we gear for the next discussion.
What you were doing here with her. Come on, speak up now.
Deanna, listen to me. I thought I was meeting you here.
As for me, I was also surprised when I saw him here, right, Alejandro? And then suddenly I felt that a man took hold of me, and when I turned around it was San Roman.
What? I knew it. I knew that hypocritical and malicious creep was going to put doubts in your head about me.
That why you called? What, are you afraid I'm going to sell the letter to your enemy? Relax. Besides, the offer I gave you still stands as long as you give
As long as I give you what?
If you want to know if I raped Madame Sati, I did not. She tried to seduce me. If I go against the incarnation of Horus, I will not be forgiven by Osiris.
Just trust me.
You only have to deliver this drink to the Pharaoh.
Asenath is back in Avaris.
Asenath, the daughter of the priest? I only
only request that the meager slave be killed, dear Potiphar.
That's right, Judah. We can't rest until we find Joseph.
I miss my son Joseph more than anything. I would be the happiest man in all the lands if a merciful soul would come to me and tell me that Joseph is still alive in some corner of the world.
Nikachochezi kapaya sana Mwangi.
Kwa nini mwongeza?
Mwangi kafitina sana. Si hapo ndio kaliniambia. It's a here saying mheshimiwa.
Yani that man, he's loyal, he's faithful, he's kind. Mse, watu wanachangwa tipia chuoni, mimi nachangwa tipia thao. Ati? Yes.
Objection mheshimiwa.
Objection ya nini?
Pama alipigwa mpaka simu ikapoteza ringtone.
Between me and you, who does this? Who does?
Me to copy your assignment. Knowing very well you'll get 2 out of 30.
Teacher, maybe you didn't hear the part that I said I paid someone to do it on my behalf.
Women. Baka mpembeleze for nothing. Fine. If this was you could have already helped her.
Do assignment for who? Let me tell you, it will be his fault if he doesn't come for the assignment by the end of today. Yes.
You remind me of my grandfather Mbaka Tushangu.
Is that so?
He's Mugali just like you. He's a very stubborn man.
Come in. I know your mangoes are sweet, but not like this one. Son, where did you get this one? I must buy some for my sibling.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
We are back with the final discussion for the day in Ndani ya studio. I think we're already set, given you a snippet of who we have in studio. Serikali inamjua kama Kivindio Mamayu, lakini wewe na mimi tunamjua kama Mash Mwana Mapozi. Mambo vipi?
Nakuaje?
Mambo vipi man?
Long time.
Unaniona?
Uko fit, unakapoa.
Habari ya masiku?
Uko poa sana. Nashukuru God. Umekuwa faithful, bado tuko hapa.
Bado tuko hapa.
Yeah.
Manze hiyo video ulikuwa young.
Yeah, I was young, 16.
Umejiona?
Nimejiona niko like wow. Hajachelewa.
Good stuff. Salimia ma fans, tupatie social media handles.
Yo, what's up? Is your boy Mash Mwana Mapozi. Siku hizo wanaitaga G-boy. G-boy worldwide. G-boy one way. The only way is Jesus Christ, au sio? So, you follow kwenye Instagram at Mash Mwana Mapozi, Facebook Mash Mwana, kila mahali Mash Mwana.
Good stuff. Now, nataka tu kujua, the past 2 years as a country imekuwa tricky for so many people. Imekuwa vipi kwako, especially ukiangalia craft yako kama msanii?
Yangu imekuwa noma because like 3 months ago I lost my dad.
Pole sana, I heard about that.
Ashukuru, but ni life. So kupitia struggle, muziki imekuwa hakuna shows, then the struggle, then kupoteza mtu mwenye is very special in your life kama a dad, imekuwa hard kwangu, but bado imekuwa experience because bado God amekuwa faithful sana, because hizo miaka 2 za wacha nizite za dryness of the industry, God amekuwa faithful, amefungua milango zingine, ametufungua macho design yenye hata muziki kirudi normal tuna understand we have capabilities of doing other things apart from music. Unajua kama ni msanii, hata ukiangalia the big artists out there, either they have investors or they are doing something to support their music. So I think wacha niongele gospel, as gospel tulikuwa na depend on shows and everything, but after kila kitu ilifungwa tuka understand we can do more, like tunaweza invest a lot in business as an artist, use the brand ya artist to make dough through business. Yeah.
Na umefind E-Time has brought the gospel artists closer together, ama ndio sasa watu wamekuwa segmented more, kila mtu kivyake, one man army?
Unajua music apart from ministry, music is business. At the end of the day,
at the end of the day,
you need to make money to make videos, make money to live, and umepata right sahi kuna wasanii wengi sana wanado ya kutoa music, so unapata either wengine wanajificha. Unajua hiyo watu wengi wako depressed, sitakudanganya. There are people who are depressed, wanashanga watatoa wapi do, wanashanga gava itatusaidiaje, because right now ukiangalia utaona watu politicians wana meet and unapata big clubs zimefunguliwa hata kama ni 2 hours, but iko wapi hiyo chance ya wasanii kuweka show? Hata kama wanaambiwa niaje wekeni show 3 hours 4 hours, wakiweka show zinafungwa the sub of the influence. But hiyo influence inafanya kuna mama na kulapo gava inachukua hapo tax. Yani kuna watu wengi sana wanategemea muziki yenye sahi, unapata watu wako home, wako desperate, but hawezi sema because wao ni kioo cha jamii. Hawezi haribu kioo ya jamii ukijaribu kujionesha au yuko poa. Lazima uoneshe wase tuko poa, ndio cause kuna watu wengi wanatuangalia, wanatutegemea. So ukionesha uko weak umewamaliza wote. So imekuwa noma sana, but tunaendelea push
nangangana a day at a time,
kila siku.
Na hebu tuangalie sasa zile projects ambazo umefanya recently, kama msanii, just in as much as things are not working out, wezi kaa tu hapo useme ni kubaya, hata ningoje vitu zikuwe fiti kidogo. Amidst hii struggle yote, ni ngoma ngapi umeweka?
Nimefanya ngoma na David Wanda, inaitwa Maajabu, nilidupoa sana. Nimekuwa nikifanya recording sana. I have new singles I've been recording. Next year I'm releasing an album. So it's all about what you want, and it's all about what you believe. If you believe in Christ, like God atakufungulia vitu zingine zenye. Ndio nimekwambia hii imekuwa season ngumu, but kwa some people kama mimi personally, mimi nimeona Christ, nimeona God akini fight through, achieve a lot. Kwa hii time, kuna time, unajua kuna time fulani tulikuwa busy, hatuko tunajifikiria. So sasa hii after vitu zimekatika, unakachi unajiuliza, apart from music, who is Kivindi, who is Mamayo? Huyo ni nani? Akona nini kwa hii life? Wachana mashimana, akona jina, akona sijui akipitia mali mash. So huyu msee mwingine akona nini? So hapo ndio tumekuwa vitu zimekuwa zikiwork, unajidiscover, una understand kumbe mimi ni mwanabiashara, naweza do business fiti. So vitu kama hizo zimekuwa zikihappen, na project pia ukitoa song uko na time ya kuisikiza, cause au harakishwi na mtu, uko na time ya kusikiza. Okay, kumbe I can be diverse, naweza imba design fulani. Alafu sasa hii unajua kuna show, ndio ile time ya kutry anything.
Na pia ndio time tumeona so many upcoming artists, anaamka tu anatoa ngoma anaeka hapo, anatoa ngoma anaeka hapo, anatoa ngoma wanaeka hapo. And we have seen, and especially gospel industry, people say that gospel industry ina do. Na pia ndio corporates wanapenda because it's more presentable, it's more palatable for the society. Perception yenye watu wako nayo, and especially the young and upcoming artists, that gospel industry na do, so twende huko just because. What do you think about it?
I think hiyo story ndio inafanya mtu akishahita anatoka gospel, because uliingia na wrong reasons. Unajua hata what mimi nimefunzwa na family is ile kitu unaingia naye place ndio itakusustain. Kama umeingia place na bidii, kiacha hiyo bidii, hiyo story inaisha. Kama umeingia place na tunazitagaje, kama umeingia place na favor ya God ikiisha unaisha. So kama ulikam kwa industry ya gospel, kama uko hapo kutengeneza jina, ile time unapata jina na unataka kutoka, hakuna kitu ya kusustain cause umekuwa ukisustain na hiyo jina ya gospel. So saa hii unapata wasanii wengi wametoka gospel sababu hawakuanzia sababu walikuwa wanataka kuimba gospel, ni sababu gospel ilikuwa na influence. Unanipata? But at the end of the day, you know, huwezi danganya watu. People just hype you for nothing, then kesho mtu atakwambia unajua mimi nakupenda ukiimba gospel at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I think niyo tu kutoku understand kitu unataka. Kama unataka kuimba secular, God atakubariki tu hapo. Yeah.
Now also tumekuwa tukiona pia some gospel artists sort of play out their beefs, and at the long run see beef mara ni hype for ngoma ina come out. I don't know what you make of this as a gospel artist who is in the game, and I'm sure some of them are your friends, unaongea nao kila siku, but for the rest of us as you know mafans wenye like mbona wanafanya hivi, mbona wana create gospel kutumia beef ku create hype for a song. Unaona je maneno?
Unajua
kama msanii na kama fan,
sisi tunatumia njia za Yesu ku make it. Christ alikuwa anachagua mafala, na Christ alikuwa anajua place ya kwenda the right time.
Yes.
Christ ako tu anaamka anasema leo naenda Galilee tu hivyo. Kuna time fulani unakumbuka alibebwa na punda nini wakati kama vitu kwa hiyo ilikuwa showbiz. Lazima agenge hiyo city na style, unanipata? Lazima uwe creative, lazima understand hadi church. Ukiona church imeundwa poa una feel kuenda hapo kwa sababu imeundwa poa. So about the worship, it's about the appearance pia, unanipata? So sometimes watu wengi wanakuwa washipiri sana, like unasema beef pia ni beef ni pork, tengeneza beef yenye haitafanya mtu afikirie salvation yako ni ukora, unanipata? Like in industry kando na ministry. Ministry inakuja wewe as a person, industry inakuja kama sisi, unanipata? Mimi sijui nini una believe, mimi sijui nini mimi na believe, but kitu imetuleta pamoja ni muziki. So kuna ministry na kuna industry yetu, cause ni industry inamaanisha place vitu mingi zinafanyika, ndio inaitwa industry. Umenipata? So kwa industry kuna hizo vitu, kuna kidogo tuongeleshane muziki toke. At the end of the day hiyo kitu tunafanya na wewe ni aware ya kupush hiyo job ya God, watu waisikie Mungu. Cause kama tungekuwa tunafanya hivyo, so hakuna pia entertainment. So inakuwa ni boring. So vitu kama hizo ni tu watu wengine wanapitisha kiki, unapata kumbe imekuwa personal. Alafu ikiwa personal inakuwa sasa na ile chuki. Unajua chuki ni dhambi, ukichukia mtu tena anakuwa. So I think ni aware tu ya kurich kwa wase. Yeah, si mbaya.
Yeah. Now this brings me to now this new generation kind of music ambayo inaendelea. Tunaona so many gospel artists putting out love songs, and unapata mafans wako divided in how they are perceiving these love songs that are being put out there. Some saying kwani amequit gospel music, sasa anafanya love songs hazifai kuwa manyimbo ambazo gospel artists wanafanya. Kama gospel artist, what do you think about artists doing love songs?
Me sina shida na love song. I have
for gospel artists.
Yes, I have a problem with the image. Because sisi ni image ya Christ. The time unaimba hiyo love song, ni nini unajaribu kutuonesha? Is it sexual love or is agape? You know, God ni agape, si sexual love.
Eros.
So lazima understand ni wapi unasimamia. Usituambie tunaimbia Christ na watu wamevaa nusu kwa video yako, unanipata? Cause wewe ni a minister, una minister watu wengi. So una confuse hata watu wale una lead. So kama ni love song si mbaya, but image hiyo love song inakaaja, inakaa Christ, inakaa Christ fiti. But kama ikai Christ, unajua uzuri ya sisi ni God ametumba kama tuna understand wakati tunajidanganya. Tunaambia watu
unajua tu kweli.
Manze mimi naimba gospel, manze ni love song, but kwa hati yako unajua ulikuwa unataka clout, ulikuwa unataka unaona hiyo ndio njia watu wana hit nayo haraka. But so lazima understand hii music, it's not about money. So about hit songs. It's all about the ministry. Mimi nakwambia kweli, like a lot of people wanafikiringi kuwa na hit ndo kuwa na pesa. Na mimi nakwambia kuna watu wengi town wako na hit na wana shit. Na wana do. Wako na hit kubwa sababu hawaja understand way ya kutengeneza pesa ni kutengeneza good music. Utaitwa tu na MP mmoja akwambia niaje bro, mimi napenda hii song yako. Huyo ni mtu mmoja anakuita na atakulipa pesa, watu 10 wanakulipa. Na atakulipa akiwa peke yake. Ni sababu umetoa muziki poa. It's not about watu, it's about wewe mwenyewe nini unapatia watu, ni genuine. Kani genuine wasa watakukama na watakusupport. Yeah.
So is this also one of the reasons about Nona also gospel music metamorphing into something, the new generational music ambayo the younger people resonate with, as opposed to sticking to the old way of doing things? Unapata msanii kama mimi nafanya hip hop pekee, and we're in a phase where gengeton is thriving, for example. Kama mimi nafanya worship, nafanya worship pekee, in as much as I'm not reaching the younger population ambao wana feel this style of music. Hiyo ni kitu naweza advise also other gospel artists to embrace the changing times, you change as the times come, as long as you are delivering the message.
Unajua Kenya tuko watu millions of Kenyans, so I think kila mtu akona place yake ya kufikia. Huwezi ambia mtu wa gengeton aimbe worship. That means mtu wa worship akiacha kuimba worship aimbe gengeton sababu ndio ina hit, kuna crowd anawacha. And get, if God amekuimba ku bring watu into worship, do that. It does not matter how long it will take, but just do it. Menipata? Because they are big artists when wanaimba worship. Hata wajui gengeton, but they are big, they are doing good. They are getting a lot of money.
Yes.
Wewe unatoka kwa gengeton, unaenda kwa gengeton sababu ya hiyo wave. Na ni wave ni kitu inapita, but worship ni kitu itawaisha. Cause like my ministry ni ya give hope. Ni ministry yenye kuangi na a lot of attention. Unanipata? But lazima understand. Lazima ujue nini umeitiwa na God kudu. Cause kama ingekuwa niyo pia mimi ningekuwa naimba gengeton ndo nione niko na kitu moja kubwa kwa TV, but ndakwambia kweli mimi naweza itwa show ya pesa mingi sana kuliko mtu wa gengeton. Naweza itwa mali kuimba kwa conference. Mimi nimeenda place akina Kidero wamekaa watu 20 niimbe tu sababu my music iko very different na mtu wa gengeton. Hawakuwa wanataka mtu wa unaniget, walikuwa wanataka mtu mkamu, mtu ana understand nini anaimba, mtu ana reach kwa wase, unaniget. Kuna mtu utamuita children's home kuimbia watu Pamela changamuka, unanipata? Huyo mtu anataka usife moyo, unaniget. Kuna vitu kama hizo lazima understand.
Yes.
Si about money, do ina come, but si about money. Ukifocus na ile kitu God amekuitia ama ile kitu ulianza kufanyia, hapo ndio utaenda right. But ukikuwa unaenda na wave zinaisha. That's why sasa unaona gengeton ilikuwa kubwa, si ati imeisha. But right now gengeton bado inaenda ni kama ina change. Pia wasanii wa gengeton unaanza kuona wakichange, wengine wanaanza kuimba hip hop, wengine wanaimba soft music because wana understand ilikuwa wave.
Yes.
That's why inaitwa wave. But kitu permanent ni kitu permanent.
Now, to bring this conversation to a close, when it comes to understanding brand yako pia ni muhimu as much as your music is. How you carry yourself, how you look, how you present yourself, how you talk is part of the brand. Ongea na upcoming artists to understand why this is part of the game na umuhimu wake hata kama ni gospel industry.
Number one, lazima understand without connection you cannot do it. Because you need me, I need you to make it. So number one, lazima uangalie connection yako na watu, communication yako na watu, the way you present yourself, the way vile unavaa, venye unaongea. Unajua lazima umake sense kwa fano wako. Lazima akiamka asubuhi anasema mimi nataka kusikiza Mashimwana sababu Mashimwana ongelea kitu fulani yenye inanijenga. Si Mashimwana leo ameongea hivi, kesho ametukana, kesho. So upcoming, just know your brand, just know communication na wase, presentation, hizo vitu zote na understand. If you are a gospel artist, you are a gospel artist. If wewe ni secular artist, you are a secular artist. Hakuna kumake pande mbili, utawahi make. Lazima watu understand umesimama wapi. So upcoming artist na wenye wako mtaani, mimi ni mtu nimetoka ghetto, usi lose hope, endelea kupush. Just know your time itakam, no matter how long it will take, but itakam.
Time yako itakam. Awesome. Now tunaenda kufunga show, but ningependa to introduce your latest jam umenifuata, ambaye what it's about very briefly. Woo, my roots.
Adanyoba.
Ndio sisi. Tell us story yake kidogo before we get to play it.
Like after my father alipass, nilikuwa na a lot of things zilikuwa kwa kichwa yangu. So but nikakam ku understand God wenye pia mimi nimekaa na wasee wana wazazi, but pia God hajaiwaacha. So hiyo song ilikam after nimekaa nikasema nilikuwa na lose hope, but God akaniambia manze, nimekuwa faithful kwa life yako personally. Babako aliishi life yake imeisha, na mimi niko na life yako na niko faithful kwa life yako. So hiyo ndo umenifaa inamaanisha yani
Mungu umenifaa.
Yani umenifaa, yani hakuna kitu kingine, yani umeniweka pamoja, bring together after nimekuwa into pieces. So wewe ndio everything.
And you're everything. Awesome. How can guys find you again kwa mitandao and all, and anything upcoming wakae waki-expect?
Yeah, kwa mitandao nipate at @mashmwana, Instagram @mash_mwana, YouTube @mashmwana mapose. Subscribe manze, tuendelee kusubscribe, share my music to your friend, to your family, and manze keep on pushing and supporting gospel music.
Awesome. Kivinjo Mamayu ndio huyo sasa hapo. Wewe ukimwona muite mambo Kivi. But for what I known as Mashmwana Mapose, thank you so much manze for coming through, just speaking to our younger artists to understand manze it's not just about what you put out there, it's about who you as a person, because the internet never forgets.
True.
We want to bring the show to a close, but we will be leaving you with some of his music, and of course we'll play for you his latest jam, Umenifaa. This has been Good Morning Kenya. Kama kawaida man, we appreciate you for always making time to be with us from 6:30 a.m. up until 10 a.m. Monday through to Thursday. Tupatane tena next week. My name is Jen Wamboi. I'm out.
Umenichangamsha na baraka zako juu za shuka, umenibadilisha, sitabaki vile vile. Umenibadilisha, neema zako zikishuka zinene kidogo. Umeshaning'arisha, wanavyoshusha na panda, nitaimba Kenya, Uganda, naruka hadi na kanda, juu ya neema yako wewe. Wanavyoshusha na panda, nitaimba Tizi na Rwanda, wataruka wagande, juu ya neema zako wewe. Umenifaa Baba, umenifaa Yesu. Umenifaa Baba, umenifaa Yesu. Kwa neema yako natembea Baba, neno lako liwafikie. Kwa neema yako nitaimba Baba, kila sikio lisikie. Baba shusha baraka zako, baraka uwepo wako na saka, naomba zije haraka. Kwa neema yako Yesu, kwa neema yako Yesu, kwa neema yako Yesu, kwa neema yako Yesu. Wanavyoshusha na panda, nitaimba Kenya, Uganda, naruka hadi na kanda, juu ya neema yako wewe. Wanavyoshusha na panda, nitaimba Tizi na Rwanda, wataruka wagande, juu ya neema zako wewe. Umenifaa Baba, umenifaa Yesu. Umenifaa Baba, umenifaa Yesu. Kwa neema yako Yesu, kwa neema yako Yesu, kwa neema yako Yesu, kwa neema yako Yesu. Wanavyoshusha na panda, nitaimba Kenya, Uganda, naruka hadi na kanda, juu ya neema yako wewe. Wanavyoshusha na panda, nitaimba Tizi na Rwanda, wataruka wagande, juu ya neema zako wewe. Umenifaa Baba, umenifaa Yesu. Umenifaa Baba, umenifaa Yesu.
However, you can never ignore the Swahili Fashion Week. Not because of its name, but because of the rich and eye-catching fashion designs that identify with the Swahili culture. Over the years, it has grown to be the most sought-after and preferred fashion platform in Africa. Designers beyond the borders of Swahili-speaking nations have a platform each year to showcase their talent, market their creativity, and network with the international fashion industry. This year, the event was anchored on the theme, Discover What Makes Africa Beautiful.
Tonight I came all the way to showcase my jewelry collection. During